WNB1 Radio, your urban music link.
Good afternoon and welcome to Straight to the Point Sports. Today is it's a day that we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, C-Max on the set.
The trio is back. We went from a duo.
I thought we were going to say MLB opening day, huh?
To about we went from a duo from about 3.5 months. Now we're back to the trio.
Good. I was getting sick of Derek.
Hey! I can keep you guys at late, but you know what's good? No football, so you guys are safe.
But since you put it in my contract,
Safe
that we
space.
can't get excited.
It's a safe
stay
space.
on my side of the set.
It's a safe space now because
Safe space.
we've got no football. If there were football involved,
Yeah, football. That's it.
eh,
Can't agree on that. Never.
it would have been pretty ugly.
Unfortunately, we all like the same baseball team, so it's going to be a while.
We got free agency to go.
NBA basketball.
Yeah.
Brian Celtics, me, Milwaukee.
Yeah,
Derek will be an innocent bystander.
no, the Bulls are doing pretty good.
good.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, young guys.
We'll talk about that.
Your best player.
Second best.
Second best player. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it in the NBA. But at any rate, we like to welcome everybody here to Straight to the Point Sports. And as always, as I say at any of the broadcasts that we do, please do remember to download the WMB1 radio app available on all mobile platforms. That is just one of the way you can access us through our mobile app, or you can go to WMB1.com. You can access it there. So there's a plethora of ways in which you can reach WMB1 Radio and listen to us here at Straight to the Point Sports. But today, what we're going to talk about one of many things. So today we know is opening day, Major League Baseball.
Yes, sir.
So
I've been waiting for that.
A lot of good things going on.
So now we've got another sport that has entered the chat room.
And
that
we can be
talk
excited for the local team this year.
Yes.
A lot of good moves.
For the first time, I can honestly say for the first time in about 4 years,
We spent money.
I'm honestly looking forward to watching the Red Sox. They've actually gone out and they've actually made the effort to go out and sign people, as opposed to just basically shedding
money and
raising
raising ticket prices.
Yes, and raising ticket
Yeah,
prices.
we're like, for what? What are we paying? We're getting
Yes.
less.
So it's the first time in 4 years.
But they got rid of a pitcher today
The Oldavani.
to the Dodgers.
Oh, I heard there was a trade.
They got rid
I
of a
did not
pitcher
hear
to the Dodgers for cash consideration.
Who was the pitcher?
Not nobody. It's a guy that we picked up from Colorado.
Okay, so it's nobody
Not-
that's in the
not a-
grand
not a-
scheme.
not a-
Okay,
I know
so
there was a.
so it's nobody in the grand
Yeah,
scheme
yeah,
of
yeah.
things. I'm fine with that. You got me nervous there.
But but the guy did okay in spring training.
yeah.
probably
well,
just not enough room to really utilize them. So.
Yeah. It's a
You
lot.
can get-
Listen, it's game one of what is it?
162 games.
162 games. So it's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Of course.
All
Glad
right.
those NBA guys don't play baseball. They can't make it through an 82 game schedule.
Yeah, I
Imagine they'd be sitting 4 times a week.
Yeah, I know. Listen, if there's any players that earn their money, it's baseball.
Yeah,
162 games.
every night.
That's
You got 1 or 2
bananas.
nights off a week.
That is bananas. So they play every day.
Travel.
They, and it's grueling. You think about it, right? We're in April, and if you go all the way to the World Series, you're in October.
Yep.
You're in October.
Yep.
That is crazy.
Start off cold and you end up.
That's right. That's right.
Yo, and the funny thing, I was looking at some of these games. I thought that MLB would be smart to make you play everything on the West Coast or down south to start the year off. New York's at home.
No.
Nope.
They-
Toronto's at home.
they-
Washington's
Well,
at home.
Toronto's-
They're freezing.
Toronto's in a dome.
Indoor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's indoor.
The White Sox are home. No dome. and
Yeah,
shit.
that's cold.
Like the Red Sox, they start off in Texas, and then next
week
4
they're
games
home.
Baltimore. No, Baltimore.
Oh,
In
yeah.
Baltimore.
They slowly work their way home.
Yeah.
They slowly.
But
work their way.
Baltimore's not.
No,
Well,
Baltimore's 8 hours
yeah,
away
yeah.
if you're gonna travel. But literally, they're probably about 8 to 10 degrees warmer than us. But yeah,
not major.
it's fun. So of course we're gonna talk about Major League Baseball opening day. We'll talk about some of the predictions that we might have, as we always do, and we like to compare them. Once we get midway, and then once we get down the end to say who
Some
was
minor
right.
surprises.
Also, we need to talk about another sport that's taking place today. Sweet 16. NCAA, the tourney. We need to talk about that. March Madness, both men's and women.
It's getting thick right now.
Listen, this is where the fluff rises to the top. In the men's, maybe there's one team.
Some minor upsets.
There's one team, one double digit team. Other than that, everything is pretty much going to form. But in the women's, it is
true to form.
True to form. And it always stays that way with the women.
Yep.
There's typically in women's basketball, there's not many Cinderellas.
Nope. And usually there was only 3 or 4 teams that had a shot. This year it's like 10.
I can tell you why. I give you my opinion on why that is.
All right.
Because in the women's sport, if you're one of the go-getters, you know, you're getting your girls, you're getting those All-Americans, and they're staying with you for 4 years.
Why
True.
They stay. Oh, yeah.
Well, you're forced to because
not
leaving.
Them All-Americans, they're leaving after one and done.
One and done. Yeah.
But there's 2 reasons. You're correct with what you say.
And them lower seeds don't get them one and dones.
No, they stay for 4 years and build some continuity.
And not only that, now they're men and they're used to playing with who they're playing with.
You know
It's a
something.
team game.
You know
Better team
something.
game.
You know something. You know what has changed the dynamics of all that is NILs. Because remember, one and dones just the last 3 years, the mid majors were beating the blue bloods
because they were the ones staying for 4 years.
4 years.
The experience. Yes.
Now the NIL money, which we're going to talk about, we're really going to get into it later on when we talk about the. I don't because it's one of the things that I wanted to throw in there. But the NIL money is changing everything. Teams, people are starting to stay because you might be teetering on, am I an NBA player? Am I not? But that NIL money could hold
That's
fast.
guaranteed. And you got another year to develop.
It could hold.
We just lost somebody.
It could hold you fast and say, hey, listen, it might tip my decision to stay. And then next year, I
no
can
rush
over the
and
top.
get that education
and the education too. Yeah.
But half of these kids that go one and done, I'm not worried about their education.
No. It's financial reasons. It's financial reasons. It's financial.
But on the women's side, that money is equivalent or better than what people are making in the pros. That's why that union thing's going to be huge. They're going to go on strike to get higher wages, but we'll see what happens. But
this is that crazy part. Like they're going
Paige Becker's and them and they're making crazy money.
Yeah, they're going to go on strike, and they just came off a record-breaking year in salary.
Yeah,
the first time they've turned a profit.
So the way I see it is if you're trying to force the NBA's hand at your first profitable season, you're probably making a mistake.
Yes.
Yeah, because what if they pull back?
You
probably haven't been able to survive. They kept you alive for 20 years.
You're probably making a mistake. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. So if I were the women, what I would do is say, hey, listen, we've seen one profitable year. If we were to exceed that year, let's throw some stipulations in there.
Right.
Like
sliding scale.
Listen, our pay raise should increase by X percentage, and this should be league wide. So it's obviously you want to raise your league profit sharing.
Yeah.
That's what I would.
But imagine us owning a company and we're not turning a profit and we're asking for a raise. Where's the money coming from? You have to. This last year they generated TV contracts, record numbers of attendance, a whole wave of talent. There's more talent coming. We know the WNBA is going to be good going forward. Increments each year because I know they're not. They were forced to go overseas. I hated that. We saw what happened with Brittany Griner. Some of these people are forced to play in Russia, forced to play because they're making $80,000 a year.
Yeah,
$80,000 a year.
So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about because NIL changes. It changes the whole scheme, the whole platform,
good and
everything.
Bad.
Yes. We'll talk about men's and women's. We'll talk about more NFL free agent signings.
Couple of big ones.
And who's out there in the pool. NBA news. We'll talk about injuries that might shape the landscape of the playoffs. Also, and we will look at the playoffs. There's a lot of jostling going on. It's very interesting to see the 7 through 10 spots.
Derek
on
knows something about
both.
that.
He couldn't let it go on. 7
Oh,
through
it's true.
10. 7 through 10 on both the East and West are crazy. It's worth
No easy outs.
it's worth talking about. Also in the NBA, we need to talk about LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith, part 2. The ding ding.
And I need
gloves
to be
are off.
educated on it. I haven't
The-
seen
the
part 2,
glo-
so I'm going to
oh,
wait for you to
man.
talk about it and then
Oh,
draw my
man.
conclusion live.
Man, the gloves have come off. So Pat McAfee did a one mano a mano, and LeBron James
each?
never does interviews.
Feels like he
this.
got something to defend. I wonder
He
why.
wants to get yes, he wanted to get stuff off his chest. So, and then in response, Stephen A. Smith has a platform every day, Monday through Friday.
Doesn't need
Went
Pat
at-
McAfee.
Yes, went in today. So we'll talk about that. As well as other things. Reminder, the lines are open. 774-425-2631 is the number. If you want to talk about something, if we're talking about something and you want to chime in, feel free to hit us up. 774-425-2631. As you can see, it is scrolling across the ticker right across the bottom over there. All right. Feel free to join in. Just not comment. We appreciate the comments. We'll try to hit those up. And yes, we'll get to that.
You noticed that, huh, old guy?
Keith Rogers, you like that hat in the middle, huh? Dallas Cowboy. I keep it real, you know what I'm saying? But yes, so that's what we're going to talk about.
Like that hat no more.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
He says, "Who's that?" In the
Yeah.
Not hat.
Who's that?
Yeah, I see.
Who's that in the middle? I said you like the
That should
hat.
be telling us that says
I
Dak.
said you like the hat.
No, he don't like that. To you
Yes, he
no more.
does.
No,
Yes, he does.
not.
Listen, he's.
I got proof.
No. He's.
He does not like that.
He's.
That's my guy. He don't like
No. He likes it.
He's smart and dumb.
No, he doesn't. He just trolls them now. Okay, Major League opening day.
Yes, sir.
It's opening day today, and it doesn't. You look at the weather, and as you alluded to, still cold. Plenty of places on the East Coast, cold. You might be playing in 40 something odd degrees weather.
Who's the advantage now?
That's just the nature of the game.
The pitches.
Yeah,
because they're not going to pitch long, but it's going to take the hitting a little while to catch up in cold weather. You're sitting around for 3-4 innings, and then you come up to bat. At least the pitcher's out there every inning.
With the cold weather, a routine fly ball is going to go out of the park.
Oh yeah,
harder.
Yeah.
So
and
it has its good and its bad.
And think about it, right? Just think about playing it in Chicago with the wind.
Windy City already.
With the wind.
Yeah, just in New York today.
Yes, yeah.
I couldn't believe New York was playing a home game the first week.
2 routine fly outs went for home runs for the Yankees today.
they have 2 solo home
and
runs.
it's not like you need much. It's not like you need.
That's the shortest.
That's
the right field porch.
Yes, it's not like you need much in New York. But yeah, so it's opening day. So we'll do as we always do. Predictions. We'll try to make predictions.
We're
as
all
far
local
as
guys here. What do we think about the home squad's chances?
I love what the Red Sox did to strengthen their pitching. When you can see your best pitcher last year go from being number one to a number 4.
Yep.
Sliding down. You've done something great.
Excuse me.
Don't blow your back out or get cramps. We can't listen.
I felt a little twitch right here when I sneezed, man. I had to brace myself.
But you've done something well when your number 1 slides down to number 4.
Yeah.
And that's just
that's a huge advantage.
Yes.
You're not pitching against somebody's ace when you're not a true ace yourself.
No.
And not only that, they improved their defense tremendously.
And getting Devers, I'm glad the coach,
I'm glad.
manager stuck that. He was the worst rated third baseman on defense.
I'm glad.
So I think, and I seen somebody talk about it, I think Big Papi sat him down.
Yeah, that was the rumor. That was the rumor. Like, hey, wait, bro.
I was a
Bro.
DH my whole career.
Bro. Big Papi says,
and he didn't say it in English.
Big Papi says, you take days off, and all you do is swing for the fence, So why not? I would not if I were a baseball player and you told me all I have to do is worry about hitting.
Go up there and hit.
Just go to work and do 50% of your job.
Just go up there and hit, bro.
They tell me every day I could leave at a 12. I'd be like, oh, I'm getting paid for the whole day.
Yeah.
Hey.
Why? You know what's wrong with that? I get it that you've been accustomed.
He has to look at reality.
But let's look at your fielding percentage, which was
Horrible.
the worst.
But and I agree with you on everything you guys are saying. But being a player myself back in the day, when you just hit, it's not the same.
Hard to stay motivated.
Hard to stay into the game.
I get it. I get the whole thing, but
some people can do it.
You have to listen. This can extend his career.
Oh, without a doubt.
Look what it did for Big
and
Papi.
preserve Bregman.
Yes.
Bregman doesn't have to be at the hot corner every day. You want him to DH a few days? Swap him.
Yes, exactly.
But now,
Bregman's an upgrade at defense.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Bregman was like the rated third baseman in the league.
And the key is healthy, staying healthy.
Where you move this guy to DH, what do you do with that old DH?
Oh, the Japanese dude.
Yeah.
I don't think he was in the starting lineup today.
No, he's AAA.
Really?
They moved him down to AAA.
Listen, doesn't he have? He doesn't have a guaranteed contract. All that money they paid him.
$55 million.
Yeah,
for the next 3 years.
But the thing is, right?
2 years.
The thing is, right?
They want to trade him, but everybody knows that.
This is a good problem.
Yeah,
it's a good problem to have.
It is.
It's not as if the guy is good and you just sent them down for no reason at all. You sent them down because you have depth.
Yep.
You have depth at these positions, and it's always good to have depth because let's face it. I just said it. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. People are going to get hurt along the way. To be able to have that depth and to be able to call people up and to be able to move people in places, guess what? Stay ready so you don't have to be ready. Rafael Devers.
And I'm going to say something now. What did Brian just say? Depth.
Yeah.
When we get into predictions, I'm going to bring up that point with another team when we make predictions because depth is everything.
Yes.
When you don't have to worry about being hamstrung because one of your star players went down and the cupboard's bare. You don't have nobody waiting to step up or nobody in the minor leagues. Red Sox got one of the best minor league systems.
Yes.
And you know what I like today? Guess who started at second base?
Campbell.
He won the second base job. So I'm trying to figure out who got beat out because they were talking about putting Bregman at second but Devers went to third base. I mean, Devers went to DH.
Devers got beat out.
But there was another infielder, Trevor Story. Where's he? Did he start?
Short.
He started?
Yep, shortstop.
So then Marcelo didn't make the team.
Marcelo was on the
yeah, and then the outfielder, the young
Abreu started.
Abreu, he got a home run today. He's tied it up. He had a home run off of Aldi to make it 2-2.
So with the current lineup and the depth, it all leads to one great thing for me. I like the fact that they've upgraded in their pitching.
And they got depth there.
And I like the fact that they've upgraded in their infield.
Yep.
I like the fact that they've upgraded in their bullpen. It's just so for me, I don't want to sound like a homer, but let's go back to last year. Let's look at what they did with a so-so team.
Yeah.
They were hanging in there right up until the trade deadline where they gave up.
And why do you think they were able to hang in there?
The one thing for me is the offense because their pitching wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
What was
coaching?
Oh yeah,
he's one of the best managers in the league, and what he did with an inferior lineup and kept those guys motivated. Injuries hit. We had the people pitching get hit. We had regular people get hit. But Cora has a way of getting the best out of his players. Now, to Brian's point, with the depth he has and the talent that's been upgraded, what's he going to do with a roster that's more talented when he's already shown us what he can do with less talent?
Yeah.
So if they stay major injury free, and one of those three pitchers that we took a chance on injury-wise pan out, I'm really, really rooting for the guy that came over from the Dodgers, Walker Buehler. That dude was a stud.
In the beginning, right?
He's just they're not putting him in a full starting session. I think they're going to put him in the middle relief to start to stretch him out. But that's the depth that we're talking about. There's 7 potential starting pitchers. They don't have to rush him. Now, the other guy, Patrick, whatever that came over from the Nationals, he's the guy that's out till June. But he has potential. They have 2 guys coming off major arm injuries. If one of them pans out, we're good. Yeah. And if they're not starters, They're going to make great middle relief. If they're not ready to go 6-7 innings, we were talking about Nathan Eovaldi right before we went on. They can be a middle relief guy that gets you the type of production that Nathan Eovaldi did when he was coming in middle relief.
Yeah.
Before he became a side. So I love that.
All right, so let's get to the task at hand. Let's talk about the American League East.
A lot of talent.
A lot of talent.
Might not be a sub 500 team.
Yes. So who do we like to win the American League East?
Baltimore. Even though they lost an ace, they lost Corbin Burns.
I'm gonna go with New York.
I think they've lost too much.
Yeah,
with the Garrett Cole and Soto.
You know something? I'm going to sound like a homer, but I'm going with the home team. I'm going with the Red Sox.
They're my second place team.
I'm going with the Red Sox, and then
Not by far.
I'm going with Baltimore. I got the reverse.
Yeah,
I got it in reverse.
I can see that.
I got it in reverse. So what? 1-2. I just think that the Yankees, they're 1 or 2 swings away from those guys who are always hurt.
Judge and Stanton miss considerable time every year, and they've already lost Soto. So where are they making that up?
I don't know.
They haven't shown me they can stay healthy.
Nah,
and then you lose Garrett Cole for the whole year right at the beginning.
Yeah. So
now they're hoping on
that hurts.
Carlos Rodon, who hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he hasn't shown the promise that the Yankees traded for him. He was a beast before we got Crochet. He was the stud of the White Sox staff. And then the Yankees pried him away, and he just hasn't found his groove yet because he's been hurt off and on. But if this is the year he stays healthy, they're going to need him to show that type of promise.
Okay, so you like the Yankees, you like Baltimore. I like the Red Sox.
Red Sox close by, within 3 games, 4 games behind Baltimore.
Let's go American League Central.
Probably
American League
Cleveland.
Central.
No, wait a minute.
Nope.
Is Kansas City in that
Yep.
division? Oh, then Kansas City.
Kansas City.
I keep thinking Kansas City's further west.
Nope.
Kansas City and Detroit played well last year.
Detroit is improving big time.
Those were your
Sort of
those
like
were
the
bottom,
basketball team.
Those were the bottom dwellers for years, and now look at
Basketball team,
Sort of like the basketball team and the football. Yeah. Detroit
I'm
is
not trying to be a
no.
the
Detroit
farm
is
systems of each one of them. They've had number 1 picks forever, like OKC in basketball.
It's hitting.
They've hit
It's
on
hitting.
them.
It's finally
They
hitting.
didn't trade off all their prospects,
It's finally
which is
hitting.
kind of hard to do at the trade deadline when
You
you
can't
got
sleep on
26 games.
Minnesota either, though. Minnesota's always
No, but that whole division's probably going to be
Yeah.
higher than we thought.
It's so they're gonna
Detroit
be.
got
They're gonna
schooled.
what they're gonna be doing is they're gonna be beating each other up.
Yep.
So it's I don't see anybody running away with the division.
Nope.
Somebody that's gonna have like an 8 to 10. I think everybody's gonna be close. There'll be somebody, and then you'll see this, and then somebody at the end will do
Depends
this.
who stays healthy.
Yeah. American League West.
I got a surprise in the American League West.
You always have a surprise in Seattle. Huh?
No,
No, it's not
Oakland.
Seattle.
I mean, are they still Oakland or did they move?
the
The A's. Everybody's moved out of
Yeah,
Oakland.
let's say the A's.
The
I like
A's.
Texas.
Well, they won the World Series 2 years ago, right?
Wow.
They just had one. They had a down year last year.
with Houston.
Houston.
But you know why I still like the Mariners to be competitive? Their
Because they-
pitching staff. They
pitching.
just don't have
They have
the
young
thumper in their lineup.
They have young hitters. The right
Logan
fielder,
Gilbert.
the right fielder didn't pan out like we thought he was going to pan out.
Yeah, the young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's good, but he's shown that year where he won the home run derby, or he was like a beast in that. But they need that 40 home run guy in the middle of their lineup. They wanted Tristan Cassis from us.
Should have gave him up.
We were trying to give him the Japanese dude that got sent down, but they were like, we got enough contact hitters that hit for average, and we were trying to pry away. Who's the guy that came over from the Reds? Luis Castillo. He's their third pitcher. They got Logan Gilbert and another young pitcher over there, and then Luis Castillo. Like they got arms for days and they got contact hitters, but they don't got somebody that can hit you that 3-run home run to get you back in the game.
Yeah.
All right.
So wait a minute, who'd you pick in the West?
Houston.
And you took
Texas.
I feel like the A's are similar to the Red Sox, but I'm going to say the A's get it done. They have several young players. Is it Rooker, the outfielder?
I just think they're too young.
And then they got the other black dude that's like he's going to be a 30-30 guy this year. I forgot his name, but he's only like 24 years old. But him and Rooker are young. Severino pitched real well toward the end of the year last year. He's starting today. Matter of fact, against the Mariners, against Logan Gilbert. That's going to be a nice pitching matchup.
Okay, so with that being said, who do we think will be a wild card?
The Red Sox, because I got them.
I got Baltimore.
Yeah, so we're just flip-flopping. But there's 2 wild cards, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to say, we have to take somebody in that middle division. I think they'll be better than the A's.
I say the Red Sox and KC.
Who did you take to win that division? The KC division? Detroit?
Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Minnesota, Detroit, KC, all going to be tough.
Yeah, it's got to be somebody.
Red Sox and the A's. Those are my.
I would say.
Don't think about Texas either, though.
Can't.
No, I count
Can't.
Texas as my division winner.
But I just want to rock the boat a little bit and
I'll say Minnesota.
step out on a.
I'll say
limb.
Minnesota. I'll say Minnesota as the second wild card team. All right. Who do we got for who?
Who's going
AL
out?
champ. AL champ. AL champ. Let's just call it right now. AL champ.
I'm going to go with Baltimore. I think they were the favorite to win it last year. They fell apart in the playoffs, but they didn't really address another starting pitcher. They lost Corbin Burns. As soon as they lost game 1 when Burns pitched, I knew they were done because they don't really have another ace behind them.
It seems like for the last 2-3 years, Baltimore's been good, but couldn't get it done.
Can't get over the hump.
But look at their young players. You want to talk about an organization that was on the bottom, and Jackson Holiday had a horrible rookie year. Now he's the starting second baseman. Gunnar Henderson is now the starting shortstop. He's an MVP candidate. Their whole outfield is young. Their catchman, Roshman,
they're young.
Yeah, but they were all. Gunnar Henderson was our MVP candidate in his second year.
Yeah.
Jackson Holiday was supposed to be rookie of the year. He started off so slow, but I think this year he finds his groove. But the only one they lost was Santander, who was their 40 home run guy. But old friend O'Neill from the Red Sox already has a home run for him. They replace him for a lot cheaper.
But he never. I can tell you last time he had a full season.
Well, he had 35 home runs last year or something like that. And that's what Santana had 45. They needed to replace that power. But Andy Roshman, I think is his name, the catcher, he's probably one of the best catchers, and he's one of them number 1 picks that's only in his 4th year. Like, they got a lot of people under 5 years. They just need somebody to lead them. They need a veteran, and they need a starting pitcher that's the number 1. But I still think they're talented enough.
And they need to stay healthy for the whole year.
They do.
And like you said, they're young. That's
Good and young.
That's the thing that gets me is they're too young.
All right. Who you guys got coming out of the
They
American League?
They need that. They need that.
I know Brian's already like choking up a Red Sox right now. I can feel it coming.
You're right.
They're gonna make it.
You're right. I think that they've gotten progressively better, and I think it's going to only build upon what they did last year. I think they got a great.
Oh man, I didn't know you
were
watching, Kelly. I definitely would have decided with you.
I think they got. I think they've got.
I work with her at school. She's a big Orioles fan.
I think they've got a great mixture of youth with veterans, mixing with their pitching, with their hitting, bullpen, everything. I think if there's one team that nailed the offseason, I think it's the Red Sox. I think they did a great job in the offseason.
And there's 2 National League teams. I think they did a great job.
And well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But in the American League, I think they nailed and addressed a lot of the
needs, not wants.
That's off of what they did last year, where they were a wild card team up until the last month and a half of the season, where pretty much their whole team was injured. I think what they did to address it, I think they're going to be that much better. Call me a homer.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think KC comes out of the American League.
Do they have a legit starting pitcher? I know they got a couple of young pitchers,
they got
but I don't know if they have that ace that they can lean on.
See, I don't really see an ace, but I see some.
But that game 1, when you're going to be matched up against the ace, and if you're on the road, having a young guy be your number 1, that's going to be tough to go on the road with somebody inexperienced.
I see a lot of inning.
You have to have a number 1 and 2. Once you get in the playoffs, you have to have at least a number 1 and a number 2. And then you have to have that guy that's going to eat up innings.
I see a lot of innings.
And then you're going to have that guy come back on the 4th day.
The ace has got an ace.
Yes.
So Kelly, big Orioles fan. Who's your ace you're depending on this year? I know you got a couple of young people, but who you hitching your wagons to be your ace? Because I know she's been an Orioles fan forever, because there's been many years of me clowning and she just walking through the halls. Yeah, I'm an Orioles. And now all of a sudden, the last 2 years, I have to like cut down the hallway and avoid her. You know?
I've heard so many great things about Camden Yards. Got to get.
She goes every year.
Got to get down there to catch a game.
Yeah, but just don't go up the street.
Oh yeah, it looked like The Wire.
Yeah,
just don't go up the street.
But I know they go see a Red Sox series because
pitching,
Kelly, pitching. Who's your ace pitcher that's going to be the ace of your staff? Because you lost Corbin Burns, so I want to know who's going to be your number one when you have to win a game in the playoffs. Batista, is that a pitcher? I'm not figuring out who that is right now.
Batista is.
No, I'm just wondering, because I know that's your team. You would know, like, who started today. By the way, they're the only team scoring today. They had like 12 runs.
Yeah, they won 12-2.
Yeah, but
second baseman
against Toronto.
Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't know. Whoever pitched for them today is probably their ace. Whoever started, but they have a couple of young pitchers.
Felix Batista is a pitcher.
Yeah, that's not who I was thinking of though. So that there's another pitcher that.
All right, so let's just while we're trying to figure out, let's move on.
All right,
National League East.
Mets.
I'm going with Old Faithful at Atlanta,
and I'd love to, but I don't know what's up with Acuna. I don't know if Sale can repeat the type of incredible year he had last year, because Atlanta.
Yeah. We're all wondering that.
If Sale gets hurt and Acuna doesn't come back in time, last year Albies got hurt a lot. They don't have nobody, and their pitching staff was depleted with injuries. I don't know how many of them made it back for the beginning of the year, but I had Strider last year, who I thought was going to be my ace. He went down the second week of the season. And then their second best pitcher went down. Their pitching staff has to stay healthy, and we got to see what they get back contributed from Acuna. Two major knee surgeries.
So live update from Texas. The Red Sox are winning 5-2 in the bottom of the ninth.
It was 2-2 in the seventh, so somebody did.
All right.
They scored 3 runs in the ninth.
Wait a minute, yes. Batista's the closer, not the starter.
Okay. I just said I seen him on the roster.
Yeah.
I'm going with the Phillies.
Going with Phillies?
Zach Wheeler and the other pitcher they got a number 1 and number 2 on that staff. Nola.
And they have a decent lineup.
Old friend Bryce Harper has to stay healthy.
Yeah, that's just it.
Yeah. Did they move him to first base toward the end of the year so that he would have less injuries?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like Edmund Sosa too. And Trey Turner.
I know
Trey Turner's big.
I know
He's
this
a
is
30-30 guy if he stays healthy.
I know this is off. You did fantasy football. I'm baseball, right?
I do fantasy now.
Yeah. Ooh, I can't imagine that. You got to stay on.
I just don't know the young studs getting ready to come up and who's the closest.
That's every day. That's
like basketball, but you have to know the minor league system, because who's getting called up to be that next stud that's June 1st designation.
Baseball is serious work.
But the money the Mets spend, their owner Steve Cohen was not afraid to go out there. He pried away Juan Soto. He added somebody to the pitching staff too, didn't he?
Well, clearly he wasn't afraid to spend it with one.
Yeah, but he got Soto, but he didn't stop at Soto.
753.
Yeah, but it wasn't just Soto. He added an ace, I thought.
He gave
and a closer.
And he gave his family a box.
Yeah. They already had Edwin Diaz, who's been hurt off and on, but they added another closer.
Oh, you know something that we forgot to mention? The New York Yankees got rid of the shaving policy.
Yeah.
You can now grow facial hair.
And that was a reason for a lot of free agents not going to New York.
You can grow facial hair. Listen, if you give me 300 and something million, guess what? I'll be taking shaving commercials.
Oh, yeah. But their closer that they got from Milwaukee, is it Devin Williams? People said he was unrecognizable when he first got to New York because he always had the beard.
Remember,
nobody even recognized him on the street or nothing. And then this year they were like, we're gonna relax, and I like that.
National League Central.
It's always the Cardinals. The Brewers are the defending champ, right?
There you go.
Um,
Ding.
The Cubs. I'm trying to think if the Cubs did enough
The Cubs are already 0-2.
because they played over in
Because they
Japan.
play
They
overseas.
couldn't get used to the time difference.
Yeah, they're still stuck on last year.
I'm gonna go with Milwaukee.
That's who I went with.
Is it Churios? They're a young dude that's real good. That plays the. They had a kid that was young that was, I'll say, in the top 5 for MVP last year. I think it's
I have to get
Churios.
reacclimated to baseball again.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things.
So many of these young guys are good early. They're good 22, 23 years old. And that's where I lack in fantasy baseball. I don't know that next superstar that they kept on the minors because of that June 1st designation. They don't get a full year of service. They did that with Jackson Holiday last year. They did that with a few others. And, some of them should have won. Bobby Witt, the year he came up, they held him back. And then, just to keep a year of service.
What do you got?
NL Central. The Cardinals should be good if they stay healthy too.
I like the Cardinals, but something's telling me Cincinnati.
Since that's different.
Another team with young De La Cruz.
De La Cruz is a beast, bro. He's just you got no help.
They got a new starter and somebody young in their rotation that's good too. Another small ballpark. You were talking about Yankee Stadium. Cincinnati's ballpark is small all the way around. So if you got any pop in your back, De La Cruz, I think he can be a 40-40 guy. He had like 70-something stolen bases last year.
Probably the fastest in the league.
And he's not a small dude.
Nice.
So I think he can hit 35, 40 home runs. I know he's going to steal 40 to 50 bases unless he gets hurt.
So do we even have to make a
Yes.
prediction for the West?
Yes. Because there's a word I said remind me of when we got to this division in our predictions.
Depth.
With the moves they made, they already won the damn World Series. And they had a million injuries last year, and they added 2 of the best pitchers, the Japanese guy and Blake Snell.
And
It's an embarrassment.
And they added another pitcher that didn't pitch last year, but he got 50-50.
Oh, Johnny, but
Yeah.
he's on the disabled list pitching for the first month, but he'll
I
be
know.
back. But nice when you can make him the fourth option on your team.
And he's probably the best pitcher in baseball.
And they still got Tyler Glass now too, right? Who was hurt. He might be the number 5.
It's an embarrassment of riches.
It is.
It
And
is.
That's why I think there's a need.
Kershaw's still on that roster, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's the pitching coach. He's a player coach now. So
He could
he's
be.
there for sentimental
He
reasons.
could be, and it'll still be a number
But
one. somewhere else.
watch him have a Chris Sale type of year because he'll only have to pitch once every 6 days or whenever needed. There's not that pressure where he has to be the horse and put that much pressure on him. But Walker Buehler got hurt last year. One of their other guys, they had like 2 or 3 guys in their pitching staff, but still won. Why? Because they were able to overcome injuries because of the depth,
He's
pitching and hitting.
He's not on the roster right now.
Who? Glasnow?
No,
Otani?
no. What did I just say? Kershaw.
Kershaw.
No, he's there. I know they said he was coming back.
He's just not on. He's probably on.
What's up, Joel? He's saying go Astros.
He's an Astros guy.
Yeah, I know
Well,
that.
the American, yeah. So can anybody contest them in their division? Because I think if San Diego stays healthy, they might have good pitching, can be good hitting.
Just don't.
They lost Mookie for a little while.
Yeah, but I guarantee they got somebody over there.
Mookie. They said Mookie's at 154 pounds.
Yeah, he's lost weight since the time they went to Japan, but
He
that's
got
not a
sick.
long term.
Every
Unless he
time-
has something we don't know about.
Every time he eats, he throws up. They say.
So was he sick before
No.
Japan or once he
So-
got there?
So him and Christian Porzingis were hanging out because he had something that they still to this day don't know what he had. They're like, yeah, he had some type of virus that he couldn't get. I'm like,
So,
wait a
It
second.
might take a week or 2 for him to put his weight back
No,
on and
he-
get his strength up.
He's small already,
Yeah,
and he
no.
lost 20 pounds, bro.
Because if you can't eat,
But
you're
the thing,
dehydrated.
but the thing with he'll put that weight back on. Real quick.
he'll be,
He's
he'll
got
be
a
on the
professional
drip for a
diet.
while.
It's just
Professional
crazy.
diet.
Antibiotics.
They said he's at the same weight he was when he was a freshman.
That's the one guy I wish the Red Sox would have ponied up and paid, man.
He didn't want to stay there though. He didn't want to stay there.
I think he didn't want to stay there because they weren't going to pay him.
No, well,
That and he said the hidden racism. Like he said,
Yeah.
when you live in Boston, don't be fooled. Boston is still one of the biggest. He said he was hearing stuff from the stands.
he didn't want to be there. I don't think I think after the World Series and everything, I think it was plain as day when they asked him, about his legacy, and he's like, they were like, oh, that one telling interview that they had with him where they said, do you envision yourself here for your career. And he went on to say, well, I've done, good things in Boston, so what, but one franchise shouldn't, be your legacy. And red flags.
And
red flags.
You know what was a major concern of
Red
his?
flags.
He wanted to play in a warm weather climate.
Yeah.
He hated the beginning and the end of the season because playing in the cold's a challenge. He wanted to go. I was here in Florida, Texas. I didn't know the Dodgers were going to be the team, and we got a sack of stale peanuts for him. The type of player he is, and what we got back. Then we get the redheaded outfielder there.
Yeah,
that was he's not even on the team right now.
No, he's with the Yankees, I believe.
No, the Yankees let him go.
Yeah, he got
let go. He doesn't even. He's a man without a team.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be one of the top 4 prospects in baseball. He complained a lot, had a bad attitude, never produced.
He did well with the Red Sox.
He had one good one.
But I mean, he was one of the top prospects that was supposed to be a long-term phenom, not what you get back in a Mookie Betts trade. We don't name one person we got in that Mookie Betts trade that's helping us right now. And who else?
Yep.
And don't forget. Oh
yeah,
we got a bag of stale peanuts for him.
Yeah, well, they
was he the first superstar to leave? Because right after that, then we lost Bogarts, we lost Evaldi.
Bogarts was a money thing.
Yeah, we lost
but that's when we stopped signing our good players.
Oh yeah, the big dude.
The Dodgers too.
Yeah,
JD. Was it JD?
JD Drew?
No.
The big JD Martinez.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Who was the first?
Yes, Kelly. I remember.
That we lost.
Adam Jones said the same thing
with the beard.
Huh?
With the beard
for the Red Sox.
Yeah, he had the
pitcher, hitter,
big dude.
The home run hitter that plays for Philly.
Phillies.
Yeah. What was his name? We lost him too.
A 40 home run guy.
Yes, we lost.
We only had him for 1 year, right?
Yeah. And he was a pleasant surprise.
But we let everybody that we like.
But this is going back to what I originally said was the first time in 4 years where I can actually say, yes, we went out and we did something.
And didn't lose nobody.
Yes.
We acquired, we spent some money. But don't we have relatively new ownership now? Didn't somebody?
Yeah, LeBron.
But it's part of the ownership.
That's what happened with the Dodgers when Magic came in, and then he was the big face, but there was deep pockets behind him, and Magic already had the backing of the major owner to say, let's get the best team money can buy. I just want to win. We got enough people with money here.
Schwarber.
Yeah, Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
Doesn't hit for good average, 240, 250, but
bangs them out.
Runs.
Yeah.
Bangs them out.
You're down 5-2 and somebody hits a 3-run homer.
Bangs them out. All right, so it's a foregone conclusion that we know who's going to win.
Well, we don't even have to ask who's going to win the pennant. Though, who's the biggest challenge to the Dodgers? Is it the Mets? They kept everybody. They kept their big bat. I'm trying to think who they added in the pitching.
They gave him a little run last year.
They got Soto now.
Didn't they give him a little run last year?
They gave him a run.
I think they won their first round and then was out in the second round. They won the wild card and then they were out in the second round. So.
No, what I'm saying, they played the Dodgers, didn't they?
And
might have been 4-2. I don't know. We'd have to check that.
I can't even remember.
I don't remember.
So far gone. I'm just gonna go right to the top with the Dodgers. I don't think. I think they'll do like they did last year, how they started off slow and then they came on in the end when everybody got healthy. And
God forbid they stay healthy. When Mookie Betts comes back, and imagine having Kershaw and you can't even find him on your rotation.
This is the thing with baseball, because where it's so long, you can sustain an injury for 3 months and still be in the mix.
Talent upon talent on the Dodgers.
Yeah, so I'm just going right to the top.
And I think that's an unfair advantage. I think baseball needs to have a salary cap, because if we did that in every sport, the Celtics, Lakers, and Knicks would always be the best teams because they can afford the most money, you know?
Yeah. So can we talk about who would face them in the American League?
I already said Baltimore.
And
you went with the local squad.
And I'm going a rematch of the 2023 World Series. I mean, of the 28 was it 18? 17 or 18?
17, 18, 18,
18,
last time
18. 2018 rematch. West Coast, East Coast,
That
Boston,
would be
LA,
great. Two big
Boston,
markets.
LA.
That would be great. Reminds me of the old Lakers
Boston,
Celtics
LA.
rivalries. And
So yeah, but it remains to be seen. But the great thing is, Major League Baseball is back. Major League Baseball is back, and like I said, it gives another sport
Now,
for us to talk
are
about.
we saying it's back because Boston's back?
No,
Or
no,
we
no, no,
saying-
no, no. I'm saying just the season. The season in
okay.
general.
Okay,
It's another
all right.
sport to add to the chat.
All right.
unlike we were talking about men's and women's college basketball, where there were so many competitors, and baseball, I knew none of us were going to not say the Dodgers. It was just too obvious.
Yeah, no.
Because they won despite the injuries, and they got better. They added who was Snell and the Japanese pitcher. The Japanese pitcher they said was going to start in the minors, and he goes out and pitches game 2 and throws a crazy game.
It's just it's an embarrassment, Richard.
Yeah,
I hate to say it, but everybody knows it. It's not like I said.
they kept who they needed to keep. They re-signed Teoscar Hernandez, which I was hoping he went to the Red Sox. That was who I wanted to join our outfield because he would have been another big bat. But it is what it is. But the Dodgers are just too much depth, man. There's no way to replace that.
All right. Let's talk March Madness. All right. We'll talk about we'll dive into the men's bracket.
Thought there'd be a little more madness.
We'll dive into well. So I'm gonna here's a I got a spin. And you touched upon it last week when my surprise team got beat, right? You said that the ACC sucked, right?
Not only he did, Charles Barkley. We just reiterated.
I just remember Charles Barkley.
Man, they stink. They're garbage. That's because his Auburn is on top right now. But so 7 teams remain. 7 out of the 16 teams
in that conference
from the SEC.
Just like football.
So what here's what I'm getting at. Remember 2 years ago, I said it, and now it's all coming to fruition. I said the power, the top powers of football will slowly become top powers in basketball. Why?
Because the new money that's coming.
NIL money.
Yeah.
NIL money.
All the big schools are in that conference.
And
Oklahoma has a lot of money. Texas
let's
years has had
face
a
it,
lot of money.
Money talks. So the talent is you get the players that'll go to the North Carolinas and the you might get, the Dukes will always go
Now,
there. They speak
North
for
Carolina did it in reverse.
Yes.
Because they brought in Belichick to help that horrible football program, but they've been a blue blood ambassador.
So you get them that'll go, some of them, but guess what? It's starting to shoot like pew, some are going there, some are going there. But 7 of the SEC. So you've got 2 in the South, Auburn and Ole Miss. You've got 2 in the Midwest, Kentucky and Tennessee. You've got 2 in the West.
They play tonight,
and
so somebody
Florida,
has to get
Arkansas,
eliminated.
Yeah, and then you've got 1 in the East, Alabama. All right, 7 out of the top 16. That speaks volumes.
And I think all of us took a team out of the SEC to win it all.
Yes.
And their biggest scare came from who? I think that's going to be the closest game they had. UConn had them on the ropes. They lost that game in the last 5 minutes. UConn should have. They were up, and at the 5-minute mark, they collapsed.
There was 1 key foul there.
A no call.
No call, yeah.
Yeah, but they lost momentum too. Like,
well, the thing with them is
they took their foot off the gas to me.
Spurts. They played in spurts, and then you can't rest at the end of the game.
And
those last 5 minutes,
those 3 guards, Richard and the point guard that we were talking about, that came from the guards dominated for Florida, man.
Clayton Jr.
William Clayton Jr.
All-American. So the NIL money is changing the landscape. We talked about it in the women, but it's also changing the landscape of men's basketball
That's
too.
Number one.
Because I said it 2 years ago. I said, when you have a stadium that holds 70, 80,000 people, guess what? That's money.
Because it's
that's
not
boosters.
Just the entry to get in.
That's boosters.
It's parking. That's money off sales.
So now they're going to take what they have and they're going to use it in another major sport, which is basketball. And that's what they're doing. A lot of the NIL money is getting distributed slowly it's leaking out now, and it's going into it's going into other sports. And now we're seeing it from basketball
instead of just buying a new library or
Yeah,
whatever.
no.
You got to put it back in this. If the sports program's generating it,
Yep.
let the donors build a new library. Let the donors build. But women's sports or some of the teams like lacrosse who don't get national exposure, give them good facilities to practice and play in at least. You got the money. I'm tired of seeing these colleges make money and everybody but the players do. The coaches made crazy money. The colleges made crazy money, but the people who are responsible for those wins weren't making crazy money.
So let's give props where props is due. Jim Calipari.
One and done?
No. I'm talking about what he's doing this year. With Arkansas.
Yeah, I was talking about he started when he was at Kentucky.
Yeah, no.
He was known for the one and done.
Yeah, no.
NIL.
He's at Arkansas first year.
First, though.
This is his first year with Arkansas, right? And they are the only double-digit remaining.
They're number 10,
team.
right?
Yes, remaining.
The lowest seed.
Yes, they're the lowest seed. All right. So,
but there's a backline story to that.
So I don't care. The thing, right, is this is his first year. All right.
Yep.
His first season.
Yep.
All right. He brings him to the Sweet.
Right. Some of his transfer is over.
Yeah. It doesn't make a difference how you get there. It's
major
uplifting.
bucks in Arkansas.
There you go.
That were putting up NIL money. So they were like, money's no object. We just want to win.
So you look at it, right? You look at it and you say, he took out 2 blue bloods. 2
Kansas.
Yes. And
St. John's, who was the number 2 seed. That's the biggest, that's the highest seed that's fall.
Yes. And in the same weekend.
Yep.
In the same weekend. We were all waiting for that highly anticipated game between him and Patino.
Yep.
And the crazy part about it was they were tied. That game just broke the tie. They were tied. They were tied head to head. And with this win, Calipari moves 1 game. And you know what the weird part about it was? They've been in the same circle around the same teams,
compared to each other so much, especially around here.
Yeah. And they're not even like friendly with each other.
They're not friends. They said it.
No. Yes, they're not friends.
Well, they'll be cordial with each other, but they're not friends.
They never ran in the same circles. They just had some similar background.
Well, you know what it is. I think there's a competitive edge
because the media and the fans always want to compare the successful people.
Patino said it like this: "Hey, we're both Italian."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? Just think about it, right? When they were at the top of their, when they were in the mid, I shouldn't say top, but when they were in the midst, of elevating their stock, it's a competitive edge.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go, when you go see a recruit, okay, Patino's falling up, Calipari's falling up off of Patino, and vice versa. He's telling these kids, they're telling these kids about, listen, you can come to my program because I'm going to give you A. We're going to do B, and look what I've done, and look who's gone to the pro. It's a competitive.
And they did it before NIL.
Yes, it's a competitive.
They did it based on the success they could sell, but
bullshit. They were their own NIL.
Yes.
Well, before it was legal, but I'm saying because they established winning programs, people wanted to go where they could be in the national spot. Do I have a chance to go to the Final Four? That's a big lead up. But what I want to say before I forget, St. John's and Arkansas were very similar because they both brought in new coaches that revived programs in one to 2 years, right? When you said Arkansas was the lowest seeded team still left, you know why? The only reason, because they played in the great conference. They didn't have their top 2 scorers for the last 10 games of the year. So they weren't winning as many games, but they were competitive in the toughest conference. Boogie Flan was one of the top point guards last year. He was supposed to go to Kentucky until the coach left. And then he followed coach over there. He came back the first game against Kansas. That was his first game back in 10 years. He came off the bench.
10 games.
Yep. He missed that game, right? Now, their number 1 scorer, Adu Thiero, another transfer from Kentucky, who averaged 14.6 a game. They were playing the last 10 games of the year, the last 4 regular seasons in the tournament without Thiero, who averaged 15.6, and Boogie Flan, who was their starting point guard. That's 30 points a game with 2 people. They both Thiero comes back today. They basically got those wins without their 2 top scorers. So now where do they stand? They already beat a legit number 2, basically without those guys. Thiero comes back today. Bland's in his 3rd game back.
So to give you more context, so in the SEC, you know what they started off 0-5.
Yeah. Whoa, look at the schedule.
5. They got up to 1-6.
And they were healthy when they started off
0-5, and then they got to 1-6. And now you look at them, they're the only double-digit seed, and they're in the Sweet 16. So it's
Then they have a shot of winning.
Yeah, why not?
They took out the number 2.
Playing Texas Tech.
Texas Tech's a high school team.
So we started off, giving the SEC props. So the SEC right now, as it currently stands, they have 4 of the top 10 scorers currently in the NCAA tournament right now.
Yep.
So you've got Chaz Lanier from Tennessee, 24.5 points. Walter Clayton Jr., who we talked about,
That's
Florida,
the best guy in the
23.
country.
Sean Padula from Ole Miss, 20 points. And
They're underrated.
I can't even say his name. Tahad Pettiford from Auburn.
He comes off the bench.
Yes.
He's a freshman who comes off the bench because Johnny, the tall dude, was player of the year all year, and he's fallen off toward the end of the year. He came back from injury, but he was battling Cooper Flag for player of the year. Auburn was undefeated, but in that division they couldn't stay. They lost to Alabama.
I don't want to. St. John's says Nathan Victor said St. John's had no.
They had no 3-point shooters, and neither did Arkansas. They were both horrible.
Listen, so
but St. John's is getting another transfer.
Yeah,
That's big for us.
6'5".
Local kid.
That's big for us.
Yeah.
So what Rick Pitino needs to go, and he needs to get himself some snipers.
Yeah.
Because
I'm surprised.
The blueprint was set by who played him in that first round game. Where are they?
St. John's.
St. John's. Omaha.
Woo!
Omaha was only down by 2 points at halftime.
Omaha.
And then, but you see the way they played. Everybody was packed inside. The reason why they won in the second half is because they wilted from the defensive pressure, not because of St. John's. St. John's is very pressure oriented. They love putting pressure.
They play well as a team.
They turn you over and they get out in fast breaks.
And they don't turn the ball over.
But what happens when you get caught in just strictly a half-point game?
And
that's what happened to them.
Yep.
They were going on spurts of 5 minutes, 39 seconds.
They trailed most of the game.
4 minutes, 20 without hitting a field goal.
Yeah.
Without hitting a field, you can't do that.
No.
Especially as you go on in the tournament. Let's face it, you're gonna face better offensive teams, you're gonna face better shooting teams. You have to be able to keep up with the Joneses.
And all that's true, but you know what? We were sitting in the St. John section, and their fans alerted us to something because they know their team better than us. But then I heard the announcers when I went home and watched it on TV. St. John's made a season out of pulling late back comebacks and always winning. They just didn't get it. They came back in this game. They took the lead, but then the guy that was really doing it for them, I think he was their 6th man, fouled out. And exactly what Brian just mentioned, they didn't have nobody to be the go-to guy. They have a bunch of guys that scored 10, 11 points. They didn't have a go-to guy, and everybody was looking around like, you take it. You know? But
they'll have that next year.
They won like 10 games where they trailed double figures. UConn, they were down 17, came back and won.
I think
somebody else, they did the same thing.
I think that they have to go out and get knocked out snipers.
Yeah.
I'm talking snipers.
Yes.
Because every team has one or maybe even two.
Specialists.
Yes.
A 3-and-D guy to defense and a guy that can shoot threes.
Yes. You need it because, like I said, Omaha laid out the blueprint. They were like, everybody, and they kept pointing it out. They were like, look at all 5 defenders. They struggled in the first half. I mean, they were clank, clank, clank. They shot like 30% from the field. You can't do that. And let's face it, Omaha was not, they were
not even a mid-major. They were like
a low level
mid-major.
Yeah. But now when you jump up, here you go. When you jump up to somebody who has shooters, now you can't go with those long droughts
Mhm.
of not hitting anything. Because guess what? The other team's going to be doing it.
Yeah.
And like you said, you can't lay your laurels on to come back.
It bit them because they said they had the most double-digit comeback wins out of any team in major Division I. But do you know anything about the team they're playing tonight? TCU? Arkansas? It's going to be similar to St. John's. They don't have one dominant scorer. 4 out of their 5 starters average between 9.2 and 12.5.
You said TCU?
Or Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I think it's TCU they play.
Texas
Texas Tech.
All right, TCU is the women's team that's in it. Yeah. So Texas Tech has 4 starters that average between 9.2 and 12.5. They don't have a go-to guy either, similar to St. John's. But the good thing is they don't depend on just one person either.
It's a team effort.
But that's either if the game's close like it was against St. John's, some of those guys, who's the go-to guy? You got 4 guys that are pretty much averaging the same points. Who's going to be your go-to guy? You know?
What is the out of the 16 games, what do you think is going to be the most attractive game?
I know who plays tonight, but I can't remember who plays tomorrow. I think, who does Maryland play tonight? Maryland plays Florida. That's
the game right there.
I think Duke, Arizona is going to be interesting.
I think Duke's going to beat the hell out of
I hope
Caleb Love is a one-man show for them.
Yeah.
He had a great game in the second game. He had like 30-something points. Huh?
That was a good game against Oregon.
Yeah. Even though I picked Florida to win, the one game that scares me is I wouldn't be surprised if Maryland beat them. Now, we saw what the freshman did. The big guy that hit the game-winning shot on, but they also have Angel Reese's brother, who's like their second lead, Justin Reese.
Yeah.
They have a great light-skinned point guard. I can't remember his name, but they have a well-rounded team. They're not going to be intimidated. They're the number 4 seed, so the seeds fell into place. One's playing 4. Maryland's going to be a tough out, and I think they feel like they got a second chance because, for all intents and purposes, they should have lost that last game. And then there was 3 seconds left, and they got lucky that the big man. But that big man,
same high school.
I was just going to bring, and so was Asa Newell, who's in the tournament.
Well, it doesn't make so they're starting 5.
All play major Division I.
Division I.
Yeah.
They all went Division I.
Liam McNeely from UConn.
Yes.
All of them.
But to get to the I think the best game of this next round, it's gonna be.
I can't remember who plays tomorrow.
It's gonna be Kentucky against Tennessee.
It's their 3rd meeting, and Tennessee has lost to them twice.
Yes.
I think that's gonna.
It's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Yeah.
I think
But you're also familiar with them, and Kentucky
Yeah.
might be thinking about that. Like, damn, we haven't been able to beat them.
Yeah. I'm going to call it right now. I didn't call it this way inside of our pool, but I think a sneaky upset alert, and I'm going to say it right now, a sneaky upset alert might be, you watch this game, all right? Houston, Purdue.
I was thinking the same.
Sneaky upset.
Purdue was one of the teams I saw, and they were playing against
Sneaky
McNeese State,
upset.
who upset. I think they upset Kansas.
Yes.
Purdue has 3 7-footers that can all play. They have a light-skinned black kid that was very skilled on offense and defense. The kid that comes in behind him wasn't much of a drop-off. They always had a legit 7-footer. One of the best point guards, Braden Smith.
I think this is the way I see it. If Houston can't get out and run, it might be a very, very interesting game. If they can't get out and use that
fast-paced
athleticism,
game with Kelvin Sampson is huge for you.
if they can't get out and use the athleticism, and it just gets put into a half-court game, it could be one of the sleepers.
McNeese State beat Clemson.
Beat Clemson. All right, so it was Purdue. I was telling Brian right before you came in, they have a local kid who's a freshman, Cox, who started. He wasn't highly recruited, but he played for Milton Academy, which was one of the top 3 or 4 prep schools in Massachusetts last year. His last name's Cox. When I saw him in the starting lineup, and I said, Milton Academy, and he was a freshman, how do you start for a major program as 6'3"? He's not even a top option. He averages double figures. Their point guard is All-American, Braden Smith. Their 2 centers don't get a lot of love, and I'm telling you, they were both good. Like, when I saw them come out, I was so impressed by how coordinated they were. They had to be like 7 feet and 6'11". But the one that starts, the light-skinned black dude, he's talented. So they got an inside-outside game, and they got another shooter. They got a wing shooter. So remember we were saying you got to have balance.
Kaufman Wren,
Kaufman Wren is what, one of the big men?
forward.
How big is he?
I don't know yet.
I'll remember the black dude's
6'9".
name when I hear it because he had like
Trey Kaufman Wren. He's 6'9". He had 22.
that's the guy that's the black guy then. And then they had a dude that came in behind him. Cox is the freshman.
And first, Furst, he's 6'10".
But there's another guy that was like 6'4" that was a shooter.
Lower.
That might be, he had about 15 points or something.
Yeah, he had a 15.
Yeah. But then Brady Smith gives him the steady point guard play. He doesn't have to score to dominate. He gets the ball distributed well. There was no one guy that, when you thought you had one guy figured out, then the shooter hits. Then the off guard was penetrating.
Miles Colvin. He's sophomore. He's off the bench.
They were deep. And then they got a very veteran coach, and I think his last name is Painter, the head coach. He's been around for a while, but they're playing who tonight? Houston?
Is it tonight or tomorrow?
I think it's tomorrow.
But they're playing Houston, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if they figure out a way to get by Houston, because I don't know if Houston has the length. And like Brian,
This is
if
what
they
I'm saying.
slow
If
them down,
if they get forced to one side of the court,
trying to find good shots against a big team that has a bunch of 6'10" and other people.
well, so this is the thing. If I'm Purdue, I slow the game down, I slow the tempo down, and I wear you out inside.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Houston's bigs get in foul trouble.
I wear you out inside.
But
So
Houston has a guy that's do everything, but if he has an off night or gets in foul trouble, it might not even be close.
All right, let's switch over to the women's because we're already.
Let's talk about the upsets on the women's side.
7-7, none.
Oh, that was quick.
None. So listen, the major story is obviously Juju Watkins.
Yes.
Obviously Juju, with her going down, it changes the whole trajectory of the women.
Takes one power out of it. Yes. Though, you know who finally stepped up when she got hurt?
Oh, the
Kiki Eifert, the transfer. She had 36 points or something.
Yes.
I think because she became the number one option and her confidence, I think she was kind of afraid to come in as a transfer and step on Juju's toes. But Juju went out in the first quarter. Yes. And then this girl scored 36 points. And the freshman, Kennedy Smith, had to play a bigger role. I thought she was going to have a bigger year, but when you play with Eifert and Juju, you're not going to get as many shots. But Kennedy Smith was one of the top guards that come out of women's high school basketball last year. She's the point guard I kept telling her, but she didn't have to do much because you had two other people. I think they're going to probably – who they play this week?
Kansas State.
I know Kansas State had a big win. I think they're the ones that the 5 beat the 4 last week or something like that. I'm not sure, but that was a close game.
Kansas State's a 5. So
yeah, they beat the 4 last week. But I think UCLA USC could get by them, but then it's the collision course with UConn after that. But so UConn has a tough game this week too.
But the irony, right? Let's just project and say both were to advance, USC and UConn. Do we remember what happened in October when they played?
Yeah, this year, yeah. USC came to Stores, but
and only won by 2 points.
UConn didn't have Ozzie Fudd.
That's right.
And they didn't have somebody else.
They are completely healthy now.
Big girl. They didn't have the big girl.
Yeah. But I always said, if UConn was healthy, I picked UConn from the beginning of the year. And I said, if they stay healthy, because I wanted to see what Beckers and Fudd could do together for a whole year. I didn't know Sarah Strong was that good. Now, remember, she came in as a highly touted forward. I didn't know she was going to be a double-double machine who's the second option on that team.
Yeah.
Well, no, she's the third. Fudd and her, but that's a nice 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah.
And then the complimentary people can play. The Oriental girl that transferred from Harvard, the third guy, Chen, she's good. The foreign girl, El Jaffe, she's good.
Do you know that you're saying all these girls, they were all Americans?
Yes. Well, but they weren't counted on to be the focal point because there's always injuries. UConn for the last 2 years has had Fudd and Beckers hurt.
Always.
I was worried. I'm not trying to pass the buck, But the one thing I kept rooting for, and I hated to think about it because I thought I was going to wish it into fruition, I kept hoping that Fudd or Beckers didn't get hurt this year. I wanted to see, and then the same thing happened. It just happened to another superstar.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see anybody get hurt. I wanted to see how it was going to play out because there was so much competition on the women's side. We talked about 10 good teams.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see it play out because I wanted to see who was going to survive. Because after tonight, you got to play somebody that has a national championship aspirations. And Oklahoma, don't sleep on them. They blew out somebody good. Iowa, who still had a good return. They beat or Indiana or Iowa. They beat the hell out of them like 96-52 last round or something like that. And they had like 3 girls who went off, and they didn't even play the whole game. Oklahoma's tough. And you know what I like about Oklahoma's tough this year? But if you saw the news, the number 1 high school guard in the country, Aaliyah Chavez, signed with Oklahoma. She wanted to play in a wide open style where she could be the focus. She didn't want to play in a system at South Carolina. She didn't want to play in a system at UConn because she felt like she wouldn't get as much shine. Do you remember, Derek? I think it was before you got here, me and Brian were talking. You remember somebody else telling us, another female girls basketball player that didn't want to go to UConn or South Carolina because they didn't want to play in the system?
Yeah, she's in Miami.
There you go. I felt like I was listening to the same thing. And we know these girls don't know. They had the same story. They want to play against the best.
That's the competitive.
She said, I'd rather beat them.
I'd rather play against them because they didn't think I could play right away.
But that's the good thing. That's a competitive.
That's taking
edge,
a challenge. I love that.
as opposed to just joining. You want to create your own legacy. You want to create your own space. You want to start your own team or your own. You want to you want to uprise. A program as opposed to just hopping on. And continuing.
And you want to know where we saw that become a problem early on in women's basketball, the first couple of games of the year? What powerhouse lost the first 2 weeks of the season?
North Carolina.
Their best player comes off the bench. Full Wiley. She didn't feel like she was involved in the offense enough. She thought she should be a starter.
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely she might be their leading scorer. But she comes off the bench as instant.
They got the freshman girl there.
They got the 4, Joyce Edwards.
Yes.
But Full Wiley was there. She was a freshman last year, and she has some incredible stuff. But Dawn Staley said, we need somebody to lead the bench. None of their people average more than 12 a game. They lost to Leah Boston. They lost Miss Everything, the other big girl that plays for the Las Vegas now in the pros, one of the best all-time players ever. Who's the girl that won MVP in the WNBA like 3 years in a row? But that's when South Carolina had go-to people.
Asia Wilson?
Asia Wilson. When Asia Wilson and Leah Boston left, Dawn Staley looked around and said, we don't have that one dominant player. So she has all high school McDonald's All-American, and she's getting criticized for it.
Yep.
Now, you want to know what's funny? I got to see if this is true. I might have to look it up. But Elon Musk made an offer to Dawn Staley for $10 million. And she said, I can't take it because I don't agree with your view on politics. And I felt like I'd be selling out.
Is it valid? Is that
I've
valid?
seen it a few times. I just
can't
haven't
believe
fact-checked
anything.
it.
I just can't believe anything because I've seen so much
but I saw that a few places
with offering money to this or maybe buying this team or maybe and I don't know what's true. It
makes me feel like people like him think they can buy people's loyalty. Like if I offer him enough money, I can get him to like me. He's not well liked. His popularity is not that great right now. And he's trying to get somebody in the minority women's community to back him. If I gave you $10 million, you might say nice things about me.
Yes, it's not.
Derek wouldn't, but Brian might.
It's not good at all. His popularity, not to say the least. But so for the most part, the women,
it's where we thought it would be.
It's going. So after this next round of games, I think is where you're going to see it gets really thick.
And UConn went from being in the toughest draw to when you lose USC, USC is not going to be horrible, but you can't lose Juju.
Yeah, you can't lose 26
so
points.
The only team
player in college basketball.
The only team that was ranked on UConn's level in that bracket, but they also had Oklahoma, who I think is underrated.
Yeah.
And they're playing Oklahoma tonight. Next, they would have played USC just to get to the Final Four. They would have had to win tonight. Well, tomorrow. But they would have had to win both games this weekend, and Oklahoma and USC would have been 2 challenges. Neither one of them, I think, are going to be blowouts.
Yeah, honestly, not for nothing. I was looking at it. Every game in the
Go-
bracket is going to be good.
And that's because of the parity that we talked about. Like, there's 10 good teams.
Every game.
And I thought after this round, when you got to the 8, if they follow suit,
Yeah.
South Carolina, Texas, USC, UCLA, UConn, Notre Dame,
LA,
LSU, TCU.
They play each other. But
Yeah, but there's so how do we see it
You
playing
didn't
out?
even say UCLA.
No, I did. I said UCLA, UCLA, and USC. But all those teams have a legit chance to win. And I really like watching Notre Dame unless they're playing UConn.
it's going to come down.
I love watching those 3 guards, man. I love watching Hidalgo, Miles, and Sonia Citron.
It's all going to come down to coaching.
And all the major big name coaches are still in it.
Yeah.
Except for Juju, all the top 5 first team All-Americans were still in the tournament. How often do we see that?
You can't sleep on Tennessee either.
But Tennessee has a tough matchup.
Oh yeah, they do.
Who they play? Do they play tomorrow or Saturday? Tennessee got a tough matchup coming up. I just can't remember who they play. But do we see it stay in the form? Or do we see some upsets this week?
Texas.
Yeah, Texas with Madison Booker and their point guard.
Yeah.
That's where I was hoping Aaliyah Chavez
Notre
would have
Dame
went.
got TCU. That's not an easy one.
No, because
none of
Haley
the
Van Lith, the guy that
Yeah.
transferred from Louisville to Miami
She's
and then
so
from
small,
Miami.
too.
Huh?
He's so small.
Yeah, I mean, she transferred to LSU and then she left to go to TCU,
Yeah.
but she's revived her career. And they got a big girl. They got a legit big girl who might be the second best big girl in the country behind Betts of UCLA. She's 6'5". She's talented. And then they got the inside-outside game at TCU. They're ranked number 2.
Don't sleep on NC State either.
That's my sleep. When I was going to say, dude, does anybody have a sleeper? We saw NC State beat
They were number 1.
Notre Dame, and we saw NC State make it to the championship of the ACC. Did they win the ACC tournament? But they beat a couple of legit teams. And remember, they went to the Final Four last year, them and their guys' team. And they got everybody back. So that experience.
All right. So let's move on to the NFL.
Well, we don't no surprise picks. Anybody going to lose that, or no predictions?
Everything. I didn't pick a.
So with the exception of USC, we expect the top seeds to still win.
Yeah, I like it to go as scripted. If there's a loss here or there, I don't think it's much of a loss.
No, because the teams are all seeded real hot.
Yes,
there's
no
low seeds.
It's not like you're seeing a 5 beat a 12.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is going.
Men's or women's.
It's going scripted.
Okay.
So in the NFL, let's see. We've got a couple of signings going on. A couple of free agent signings. We had Russell Wilson, which
Both Steelers guys went to
I don't know what to make
New
about that.
New Jersey.
to New York.
Now, Russell Wilson went there. They already signed Jameis Winston, and they still have the journeyman young kid that was already there. Are they still in the market for a quarterback in the draft? If Shador's available at number 3?
Well, yeah, because 1 year.
But you tied up a lot of money, $10 million guaranteed for Russ. You had to give Jameis something.
No, he got 2 years for $8 million.
Okay, so you cut the third guy that played toward the end of the year.
Yeah, no, he's not going to.
But did you see what their rookie wide receiver said when they signed Russell Wilson?
Neighbors?
What the hell are we doing here? 2 bums to bring in. A turnover machine, and
he definitely doesn't hold his tongue.
No, because he's gotten in trouble. He
already said he's the best receiver in the league.
Well, he's not even the best receiver to come from LSU.
He's not even the best receiver in
Justin Jefferson.
Not even the best receiver in his division.
I know,
but he had a great year for a sucky team with no quarterback.
Yeah. Okay.
So rightfully so, he played well, but he doesn't think there's anybody to throw him the ball.
Yeah. In all fairness, so he had Daniel Jones and the
DeVito
and the dude that lived
with Da Vinci Project
throwing to him. He had 109 receptions.
That's
for
incredible.
1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns.
And remember, they lost Saquon Barkley, so they had no big running game either.
No.
We knew the ball was going to him.
They were 3-14 last year, right? They were 31st in points scored. They were 30th in yards per game.
They just need so much on offense.
So guess what they were doing
good.
the whole time? Neighbors.
Yeah.
But
Hello,
neighbors.
He still had to adjust and deliver as a rookie.
Yeah.
With subpar quarterback play.
Yeah.
He got it done.
And he was hurt. He got hurt. He was out for 2 games. because he got hurt against Dallas. He had a concussion. He was out for 2 games. So 2 games, he could have probably had 1,400 yards, close to 1,500 yards.
And
as a rookie.
at least another 6 receptions each game. That's
Oh,
another
yeah.
12 to 15
Yeah, no.
games.
But let's think about it in the grand scheme. Do you think the delivery to him with Russell Wilson is better than Daniel Jones? I'd say yes.
Without a doubt.
I'd say yes.
I didn't like the way Russell Wilson finished, but yeah, he is an uptick.
Listen, just in.
I'd almost rather have Winston than Russell style.
Just in I think in his ability. So let's talk about what Russell Wilson did for the Steelers when he came in.
At the beginning.
He revived their offense.
And there was a lot of controversy.
Yes, it was.
Him and Fields. Like Fields was undefeated. Like I'm gonna get benched.
The thing with Fields was he didn't push the ball downfield.
He didn't have to.
The
defense kept them in the game.
He didn't push the ball downfield. So the difference between them two, it was a stark contrast of almost. I want to say, don't quote me on it, but I know Justin Fields his average pass was a little under 8 yards, and for the first 4 games, or 5 games it was, because I believe they were 5-2. I think they were when they made the switch.
I thought they were 4-1.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, was it 4-1?
Yeah, it was early on.
I know it wasn't.
Game 5 is. After,
Yeah.
All right, so the yards per attempt went from 9 to the average pass. It went from 9 to like almost 14.
Yep. And they continued to win for the first 3 or 4 games, but then the bottom fell out.
Yeah.
The thing with that is, with Fields, he gives you another
running
option.
A threat.
Yeah.
Another threat.
Especially when they're running
It's
against
a dual
with
threat.
Najee Harris.
It's a dual threat. So you know what it was? The thing with Russell Wilson was like, we don't have to worry about that run. We don't have to worry about that threat. So we don't have to put a spy per se.
Yeah.
So that's
not young anymore.
That's an
He
extra
used to
guy you
run.
could take out of the box and use in coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that simple. But going back to Malik Neighbors, I would much rather have Russell Wilson
Or
than
James.
over those or Jameis was over the
Jameis
two
throws
that
a
he had.
beautiful deep ball. He just takes a lot of chances thrown in the coverage.
Yeah. So will he help them? You can't do any worse. You were in they were basically 30th in every
You know why I think their offense is going to improve? They went and picked up these 2 quarterbacks. I think the writing's on the wall. They're going to entertain picks if one of those quarterbacks on there, and they're going to get extra picks. They might end up with 2 first-round picks or drop back a little bit and pick up an extra second and third. They need offensive line. They need a running back. They need an everyday running back, right? They don't have nobody. If they got
Tracy wasn't that bad.
he had 800 yards.
But the trend is people getting
That's
two running backs to give you different options, a pass catcher or an everyday workhorse. I can see them getting an offensive lineman and another playmaker, whether it's the second wide receiver or it's whoever's the best offensive. But one of those 2 quarterbacks will be serviceable. Go get your quarterback next year.
Well, yeah, 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year. But you get an offensive lineman that'll be there for 10 years, and you get an Ashton Gentry or
this is what I think.
from North Carolina.
This is what I think. A lot of people are like, oh, well, they signed 2 quarterbacks. Look at the tenure of how long they signed them. You've got one for 1 year.
They're not married.
And then one for 2 years, which is basically saying he's going to be the backup come hell or high water. You have to structure it that way. You can't say, I'm going to sign both guys for 1 year. No. You're going to sign one for longevity and then one for a gap year. And that's what it is. So I think that the quarterback is still in play. They were like, oh, no, because neither one of those quarterbacks are your future.
And they didn't want to sign Rodgers.
No.
And that's what I'm getting mad about because he keeps lurking around my camp.
Minnesota, let's go to Rodgers.
He thinks Minnesota has the best chance to win out of the teams interested in him. He thinks Pittsburgh.
No, know what it is? He's seen Brett Favre go to Minnesota. That's what he wants to do.
He's copied everything he's done.
Yeah,
but I
York,
think it's more, he has a better chance. With the moves Minnesota made, he has a better chance to win. He wants to go out and win, and he doesn't have time to wait around for Pittsburgh to get better. Pittsburgh needs offensive line. They need a running back. You know, their defense is always going to be there. But I heard he has a verbal agreement because Russell Wilson got tired of waiting. So Pittsburgh's open if he wants it. The only reason he's not signing is he's still got the door open talking to Minnesota. And I was like, please not.
You love that though.
I don't want him.
I want you to have.
I don't. I know you do. You
I
want
want
us to lose.
I want you. No, I don't want you to lose.
I want to hitch my
I want
wagons to JJ and go get Joe Flacco as a backup. That's what I want.
I want you on a Rodgers train, bro. You deserve it.
See, this is the reason why I'm here.
That's
I
the
got to
new-
keep this.
That's the new New Bedford commute rail that just started. That ain't a train. That's a commute.
I got to
rail.
keep.
Yeah.
It only goes so far.
Hey, wait a minute. What's the colors on that commute rail? I don't know. That's the Rodgers colors. Purple and yellow, baby. Let's go.
So moving on from that, Sarah. So Stephon Diggs signed with the Patriots.
Sweet and sour.
Bad.
Sweet and sour.
He's a head case and
And he's coming off a major injury.
major injury.
He's on the other side of 30.
3 years,
But he
69 million.
will be
23 million guaranteed.
if he doesn't destroy the locker room.
If
I don't think he'd be the type that would tutor a young guy. They got Keyshawn Booty, who did all right. They got a rookie that he never got the playing time because they said he had a rift with the old coach. But he was a second-round pick, and he was supposed to be better than he was, but he only had 7 catches. They still might draft a wide receiver. I hope they don't. But he could help them.
They have what? Pick number 3.
Pick number 4, and I want to see him take an offensive lineman to help protect May. Because now they got the playmaker in Diggs, and let one of those other guys try to be the number 2. But get somebody to give your quarterback a little more time.
You don't go after that defense.
Tutorial. You loaded up on defense, and the defense was already good. Look at all the defensive free agents they signed.
Didn't they pick up who did they pick
A
up?
great cornerback? Carlton Davis?
Yes.
I would say he's great.
He's not great.
No,
He's
but
serviceable.
to him on the other side of Gonzalez is tough. He's the number 2 over there.
Well, he's going to get thrown at a lot.
Yes.
But
He's going to get thrown at.
they picked up other defensive guys that the nose tackles. The kid from Philly, Milton Williams.
You can use that guy on offense too, though.
Travis.
Listen.
I don't want McMillan. I
Listen,
think he's overrated.
I think
Arizona,
listen,
6'5" guy.
So in going both ways, I think that he doesn't have per se a Deion Sanders type body. He's not as big.
No.
Who's this?
Travis. He's not as big.
Deion was bigger than him, really?
Oh yeah,
I
Deion was
know
way
that.
bigger than
Deion
him.
had size, bro.
Deion was 6'1".
I just remember him being slender. I didn't realize he's
Deion
tall.
was 6'1".
I didn't remember him being
Deion was
fast
big.
and slender.
No, Deion was
6'6".
Deion was 6'1".
Didn't
You know,
hit.
he was probably around 190.
91.
Yeah. And then as he went up and he gained more weight, but he doesn't have that frame. I think you use him as a gadget on offense. You use him 10 to 12 plays max, all right, just to throw the team off. But I think he will be a better corner than he will. And I think the longevity for him is at corner.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he is small. He has a small frame. I get it. You better have.
I thought he was bigger.
You better
than that. I
have.
thought
Oh,
he was
he's
decent
small.
size.
You better have blistering speed. I'm talking blistering speed to be that small.
And he didn't have great times at his
No, he
pro
didn't.
day.
He didn't have.
He has average speed.
Yes, he's
He's
average.
just got great instincts.
That's the thing. He's got great instincts. I think the money for him. Don't get me wrong. You look at the money for a wide receiver and the money for a defensive back. It's miles apart. But if you want to talk about the long run, I think his body frame is built more for a defensive back as
And
opposed.
that's why I don't see the Patriots taking him, because they got 2 solidified corners right now.
Yeah.
So they'd only be using him on offense.
And
I don't like them taking McMillan that high.
And to boot, you're only going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay because he's in his what? This is his second year. This is his second year, right? The cornerback for
Gonzalez.
is it
Third year.
Third year.
Yeah.
All right. So guess what?
He was hurt his first year.
Next year you're going to have to extend him.
Yep.
And then the year after, so
But he's
you're going to be
proven
in between. You're going to be in between 2 and 4. When you look at drafting him, so you can't pay both of those guys. So what
How
I
long
think
did they sign Carlton Davis for?
3 years.
Probably
3
2
years.
guaranteed.
3 years.
So when his contract.
So so what I'm saying is I think that they go after someone else. You've got your lockdown. How often do you get 2 lockdown corners? It just doesn't make sense. What does that say?
Paul was saying about the defense.
Defensive tackle is a team with Von Moore,
was great.
defensive back together with Rodriguez. Get Carter. Small wide receivers are what this OC uses. Yes, I get it. But we're talking about him in general. His fit, not the fit for the Patriots. I think his money is as a DB for longevity and to be used as a gadget player. 8 to 10 plays, you give him, you put him in there, and you use him as a gadget. I think his frame is just too small, and he doesn't have the blazing speed, and he's an okay route runner. I wouldn't sit there and say, yeah, you know what, he runs a great route tree. He's average.
He's just an athlete, bro.
Yes, he's an athlete. He's a basketball player. You see him playing basketball?
Oh boy.
Yeah, he does some incredible stuff.
He's an athlete.
He's an athlete, yes. So for me, in looking at him, and I think that's the consensus right now.
Do you consider him, if he's there at 4 over an offensive lineman? Would you go, because you mentioned kind of liking him, and I was like, I don't think the Patriots need that type of player.
No.
They need the offensive lineman that's going to
You've got
10 to 12 years.
You've got one lockdown cornerback. You don't, like I just said, in 2 years.
Vrabel will take Carter because he's what? A defensive coach.
Yeah.
He'll say that's a generational talent. He'll compare him to your guy.
You can't have, like I said, it's unheard of.
I think Carter's gone before 4th.
That you get 2.
Somebody might trade up for him. But he also skipped his pro day recently too. His shoulder's not fully.
Yeah, he got a hairline fracture.
But he played with that bad shoulder most of the season and in the bowl game.
Nah, he got a hairline fracture in his foot.
Shoulder.
I thought it was his foot.
He had surgery on his shoulder because they were worried about his bull rush because he couldn't use his shoulder. But he played all those bowl games hurt. So he was able to manage it. But then he had surgery after the season. He didn't go to the combines, and he's not doing his pro day because they said he still needs to recuperate. I just read today about him not doing the pro day. But I think he's a generational talent. But the Patriots already got an impact defense.
Yeah.
Von Moore, next to the kid Milton Williams, great nose tackles, really good defensive backs. If anything, they need a linebacker, but I think they can get that. They can get that help later. But I think they need help on offense because the guy they got to protect is that quarterback. I think he got very lucky and very fortunate last year. He didn't get hurt. He took a lot. He's a big guy, but he took a lot of beating because they had no running game, no offensive line, no number 1 wide receiver. At least they got Diggs. Now get him somebody to keep him upright. Yeah. See what he can do.
So the only other signing was Brandon Cooks. He went back to New Orleans, 2 years, $13 million.
And it was a sneaky signing. Cam Robinson left Minnesota and went to Houston. Houston had lost in that Laramie Tunsil trade. I didn't understand why they were getting rid of Tunsil, but they needed offensive line help, and they got Cam Robinson to go there, and they also signed somebody else. They're not on the level of a Laramie Tunsil, but Cam Robinson was one of the more sought-after offensive linemen that was still out there.
Who's that?
The one that replaced
No, who signed him? I'm sorry. I knew you said
he went to Houston.
Houston.
Yeah.
Because Houston lost Laramie Tunsil in that trade.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why they would trade him when they needed pass protection. They needed somebody next to him.
I thought you said Miami. That's why I was like,
oh, maybe I did, but I could have.
Free agents remaining: Aaron Rodgers, quarterback; Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper.
I keep hearing Dallas.
Von Miller, Deontay Johnson, Brandon Sheff, Tyler Lockett, Marcus Williams.
I think Tyler Lockett would be good for you guys.
I was saying that too
because he won't be expensive.
No.
But Amari Cooper is going to want money. But
I don't think so.
He'll want more than Lockett, and I think Lockett might have more to offer Dallas as that X-back, that X receiver.
So yeah, you need somebody. He's proven that he could. He all those years in Seattle, he's proven that he could be a number 2 without a doubt. Even at the ripe old age of 31, I still think that he has a lot in the tank. Never really was hurt. So he's durable. Who else? Preston Smith, James Bradbury, Shaq Mason, Zadarius Smith, CJ Mosley, Trey Lance.
No, wait, didn't he just signed with
Trey Lance signed with someone?
Like
Trey Lance went to the CFL.
CFL team.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Okay.
from number 4 pick to CFL. 4
Yeah,
years.
okay, that tells it all. Robert Woods, Kendall Fulton, Justin Simmons, Rasul Douglas, DeMarcus Walker, Raekwon
Wait a minute.
Davis.
What's that comment Paul made? Rogers to Jetta all day? No. But
You don't like that?
no,
I like it.
made me
It sounds
regurgitate.
good. It sounds good.
I like Tyler Lockett going to you guys, but you know what might be something sneaky? If the Patriots go offensive line and one of those number 2s don't step up, the longer Keenan Allen's out there, get another veteran that knows how to run routes. Little 2-year contract, 1-year deal, whatever, because he's getting old, but he runs great routes. Now you got Diggs and
he's big.
yeah,
But think about it.
great hands.
That's another bad attitude in the locker room.
Is he? I didn't know that.
I didn't never.
I didn't hear that with the Chargers, and I didn't hear that with the Bears. So am I missing something? What did you hear about it?
That's why he didn't sign back with the Bears. They didn't want the attitude.
Really? I don't know.
When he wasn't getting the ball, he was complaining. Even wet.
Was he healthy all last year? I thought
Pretty
he got
much.
nicked up
Pretty much, he was healthy.
because I heard he stunted the growth of Rome Odunze because at the beginning of the year he was the number 1 option.
Yep.
And then when they went away from, maybe that's what you're talking about. Maybe he got upset when they went
And
away.
then-
He didn't want to be the tutor.
And not to mention that
That's a hard role
even-
when you've
even-
been that
even-
guy and now you
even-
got to be the tutor.
and
He
not
even talked about the quarterback.
and not to mention when the quarterback held on to the ball for 900 seconds and
Well,
got sacked 100 times.
That's 50% on the quarterback and 50% they had no line. They went out
yeah.
and fixed that line on day 1 of free agency.
Yeah. So that might have been part of the problem too. Like, dude, you're holding on to the ball too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And there's
Um,
major rumors that the Bears are now going after the running back, Boise State, at the number 10 pick, to combine him with Swift to copy what Ben Johnson did. That will take the ball out of the quarterback's hands a lot more because now you got a 2-headed monster. You got a nice offensive line. You
Not
don't
if
need
the
to throw as
quarterback
much.
audible.
You don't have to sling it. Yo,
Not if the quarterback.
Caleb
audible.
Williams was throwing the ball 30-something times a game last year.
And
They had
running
no
around
line
for
and
his
no
life.
running game.
And running around for his life the other
Yeah.
10 times.
He was trying to make the big play all the time, and
Yeah,
they couldn't do it because they weren't getting enough time. He was running for his life.
Could that be partially his fault?
It
No,
could
I
be.
said it was 50% his fault
could
and
be.
50% no offensive line.
He needs to listen. It's the NFL, right? 1, 2, 3. As soon as that third, it's gone.
Gone.
You can't 4, 5, 6, 7. This isn't college where you're going to be able to outrun people because those linemen are running just as fast as you are. And I think he realized that, and hopefully.
So I don't think there's another major free agent signing out there. But
No, there's nothing major.
complimentary people.
So
like I think Lockett with you guys would
So,
be perfect.
I'm going to retract that.
Or even if he goes to the Patriots.
there won't be.
Rocket with them.
Listen,
Rodgers with you.
I was just gonna say that.
Nobody
So
said Rodgers.
listen, Rodgers can tilt. He could turn or tilt the table.
I felt the cramp coming on.
He can turn or tilt the table. All right.
Cramp in my house.
So also, one more thing about the NFL. Another rule change. The
Overtime. Oh yeah, that got taken away.
the sniff. So we all know 2 players made that famous. All right. One was CeeDee Lamb, and the other was Baker Mayfield.
What do they
it
have a
lot.
problem with it?
I
Does
don't
it
know.
symbolize something? I don't know. Is it something perverted? Or
Smelling
something?
salt.
Smelling salt.
Smelling salt.
Yeah.
Knocking somebody else.
So it's just like
Or the wide receiver when it knocked.
they consider that.
I got you open.
Yeah.
I got you open. I don't know.
I don't know. I had a hard time with
For
it.
some reason, I thought it had some sexual innuendo or something like that.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
You know, like I said, why is that? I was kind of confused.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused.
Paul
too.
Paris, any thoughts on that? Why
Um,
the finger sniff got banned?
So
And I thought
it's
they
a
were
15
doing the
yard.
overtime thing to make that part of regular season too.
Yeah,
Each team will get the ball once. They only did it in the playoffs this year. But they
It's
were
still whatchamacallit. It's still
probably too late to happen this coming
no,
year.
it's still in trial. It's still in the trial basis.
Oh.
So what they're trying to move forward on,
Right about what?
what they're trying to move forward on, is the kicking rule. They're trying to say that,
35. Get it up to 35 instead of.
yeah. So that's another thing that
they want you to kick it inside the zone.
yes. So that's another thing that they're looking at. But we'll see. The rules committee what they're doing. All right, let's get off
NBA news.
football. Let's go to NBA. So we know that there's been a couple of injuries. That have taken place in the last few days. I can't even see. I'm looking underneath. So a couple of injuries. One with your guy, Damian Lillard.
He's out for the rest of the regular season.
Your best player is gone.
Yeah, the freak is still there. Our number 3 guy is going to have to step up to be number 2, but Dame's the only guy that can hit free throws down the stretch for
He
us.
couldn't do that last year either.
Huh?
Your number 3 guy couldn't do it last year either.
Who's your
But number 3 was Middleton. We traded for dude from Washington.
I thought Middleton was your number 2 last year.
What's his name? The light skinned kid.
Yeah. The forward that went from the Lakers to the Washington.
Kuzma.
He's been playing.
Nah, he's not bad.
But he was good at the number 3 because, come on, man, your top 2 defensive players are on somebody else. He's good enough.
But now I don't know if he can turn into a number 2.
No, but he has to step up because we're not going to see Dame until the earliest playoffs, maybe not till the second round, and we might not get out of the first round without him. Because we're like ranked number 3 or something.
So no, you're number
5,
6.
6. Yeah.
You're 40 and 32. You're behind the Pistons. The Pistons overtook you.
Damn,
41 and 32.
A lot of good teams in the East this year.
Pacers. I said, don't be surprised if the
last year's
Pistons
Orlando.
knock off. If they don't knock off somebody in the second round,
Especially if they get Jordan Ivey back too. Even if he just comes off the bench.
Don't discard it. Don't discard it. So the once insurmountable lead that the Cavs had, which was almost at double digits at 10 games. Now it's 4.5.
Oh, they've had,
but there's only 10
games.
Had a losing
streak, right?
There's only 10 games left. So it's safe to say that they're going to go 1. I think the 1, 2, and 3 spots are set in stone.
Who's 3?
The Knicks. They're 3 games ahead of the Pacers.
I like what Towns has been doing. But Brunson, is he back yet?
No.
Yeah, so stay at 3, and Brunson's not even.
Well, their schedule isn't that hard, so that's what they're banking.
Yeah, but if they have the time to rest them and get them back to full strength instead of rushing them back, that's great. Because I like the Knicks in the playoffs.
So the Knicks are in the 3rd spot. Pacers, Pistons, and Bucks are all separated by 1 game. 40, 41, and 42.
Where are the Pacers?
4. They're 42
They've been playing
and 30.
lights out lately.
They lost last night at buzzer beater. LeBron's tapping. Yeah. They're 42 and 30. The Pistons are 41 and 32, and your Bucks are 40 and 32.
And that could make a difference between you having an open round home court
game
advantage
on the road,
all 1 game apart.
Yes.
That's huge. And now we got to do it without Dame.
But even more interesting, like I said, was the 7 through 10, which is the play-in, right?
Oh, now Derek can talk.
So
you're gonna be here soon, bro.
You're not there right now.
You're gonna be here soon.
You're healthy.
Wait,
no, we're not. We haven't been healthy.
See, this is why
that's
I'm
all right.
here.
You'll be there soon.
Who's missing?
You'll be there soon.
Who's missing?
Dame.
So listen,
Dame,
listen.
your best player.
I'm saying.
Your best
You
player.
said you've been hurt.
Your best player.
But you said you've been hurt.
Why? I
got rid of both of our best
and
players.
somehow I feel like I left and it didn't change. All right,
It
got
worse when you came back. We actually got
7, 8, 9, and 10. 7, 8, 9, and 10 are actually so if you look at it, Hawks 35 and 37, Magic 35 and 38, Bulls 32 and 40, and the Heat 31 and 40.
You mentioned the Hawks. Funny how at the beginning of the year we criticized them and Washington for their rookies not playing well. Guess who's playing lights out right now?
Yeah,
both those rookies.
Yeah,
they were the number 1 in the Sars playing really good, and Zach Riche, French guy. He's been playing.
It takes time.
Yeah, and he had to adjust from European style to physicality. But I've been seeing him on highlights a lot lately, contributing.
Like they said, the game slows down after a while. They're finally catching.
And they're where 8 or 9? You said
who?
Atlanta?
Hawks.
They're right
7.
around.
They're 7.
They're 7.
They're 7. They're at
the Bulls.
So Magic is 8.
Magic's scary. And they lost a lot when Poncho wasn't there.
Yes,
but he's back now.
And so,
they lost their guy though.
The other brother there. What's his name? The 2 brothers.
Yeah,
one of them's hurt.
Wagner. Fritz and
Vons.
Yeah, Vons Wagner.
Whatever.
Mo Wagner and Franz Wagner.
Yeah. But at any rate,
that a shooter.
That's the thing. The playing is going to become really interesting.
That's what I thought Klay Thompson.
7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. All right. And it's not only in the East, it's on the West too. You're going to see these teams the last week vying for that.
Nobody can rest nobody.
No, you can't.
There's something to play for.
You can't. And that's what's going to become interesting. Like I said, 1 through 3 is solidified in the East, and then 4, 5 and 6 could all flip at any given day because they're only separated by a game. All right. I think with you guys losing Dame hurts a lot because let's face it, you know, I don't see you getting into this. You're up by 5 games on the next closest, which is the 7. I don't see you moving up 5
But
games.
there's 3 teams that are within 1 game that we could go from
All right,
5th to 8th
you got the Knicks next
without Brunson, though.
without Dame.
I'm saying that's a trade-off.
Well, you got the Hawks.
They're playing good.
Good stuff. Who are But I don't see you. I think if
If
anything,
we go 500,
You got-
I think if anything, you're going to
You got
stay
the
right.
Suns, who you don't know
They're
what they're
horrible.
going to get.
They're horrible.
they're not
The
even
Celtics
in the
beat
top
them.
10, right?
The Celtics beat them yesterday.
They're
without
having a real
Jason
problem
Tatum,
with chemistry
They're
with
bad.
Bradley Beal.
by 30
You got
points.
the 76ers. It's
I ain't worried about that.
That's garbage.
No Embiid.
Heat,
That could be a tough game. That could be a
Pelicans.
tough game.
It should beat the Pelicans. That's rescheduled from January 22nd. And then
Is
the
is
Timberwolves.
is the top 4 seedings in the West solidified, or is I know OKC is going to be 1.
You got
Denver's going to be 2.
You finish out the season with the Pistons twice.
Oh.
That's not an easy one.
Ooh.
I'm just looking to go 500.
Listen, so
5 and 5.
so that itself
I agree, Paul.
could change. That could change at any given time. I think that he's saying the Magic. I think Detroit is going to be the
Well, I just said Detroit is last year's Orlando. Remember Orlando surprised us?
Yes.
I think they beat Milwaukee in the first round.
because of the physicality that they brought to the game.
Talented
They
bigs.
were- they-
talented
that's
athletic
it.
bigs, but
They
they
were
need an
playing-
outside shooter.
They were playing with a lot of reckless abandonment, down the end with their physicality. Even when they played against the Celtics, they split with the Celtics last year because the Celtics weren't offensive.
They were a
rebounding.
thorn in the Celtic side. Like
Offensive
their
rebounding.
style.
Yes, offensive rebounding.
active
The
legs.
Celtics just couldn't figure it out. But in a 7-game series, it turns out to be a little different. But
Yeah, you can make adjustments.
I think that the team that's going to make some is going to be them Pistons. Them Detroit Pistons.
I'm
I
not
think-
counting Orlando out either. Oh, Paul agrees with me there. I'm not counting Orlando out, but they got to get healthy at the guard position. Suggs has been out for a while.
Yeah.
And then what's his name? The Anthony kid. He's been out. That's hard when both those guys are your lead guards. I don't even know who's the starting point guard right now. I think it's one of the young guys they drafted.
It's tough.
Banchero been out for a while, so he just came
Oh, he-
back like the last.
He's been back in a
2
week,
3 weeks.
a week and a half. He's been
Week
back.
and a half.
And he was out previous to that. He had missed a lot of. He got hurt at the beginning of the year, missed a couple of months,
Yeah.
came back, and then went
So-
out again.
So with him coming back, that helps them.
But they need somebody to run the point. That's where I think and they don't have a leader at point, and they don't have a threat from the outside besides Banchero. They need that's why I thought Klay Thompson should have went there. They need a sniper.
So in the West,
OKC, Denver,
OKC,
Houston.
so you've got the
Houston's
Rockets
Houston's
is
number
number 2.
Rockets are 2 over Denver.
Yes, by 1 game. But
Oh,
this
all
is
right.
where it gets shady. All right, you've got teams 2 through 5 are all separated by a game and a half.
Sounds like the East when we were talking about.
All right, so
Milwaukee
you got
and
the
Atlanta.
Rockets, you've got the Nuggets who are a game behind, you've got the Lakers who are a game and a half behind, and the Grizzlies who are a game and a half behind. So, I mean, at any given day that could change. All right,
Are the Grizzlies healthy, or
The
did they lose
Grizzlies-
Jaren Jackson?
for
a little while.
I think he's playing.
I think he's back.
Yeah.
All right,
So they're
Yeah,
at number
God was-
5. They're at number 5.
they still got Marcus Smart, or did they?
No,
trade?
he got traded to the Clippers. I mean to Washington.
Oof, he got banished.
Yeah. So you've got the Clippers at 6, the Warriors at 7, and the Timberwolves at 8, who all have the exact.
I
same
can't
record.
believe the Timberwolves are that bad. I mean, they got rid of Karl Anthony Towns, which backfired on him because Randall and the guy DiVincenzo has not delivered what
No,
they
he's not
thought.
banned
He
out.
was supposed to be an outside
Morant is
threat.
out.
That's what I was wondering. Is Morant out long term, Mike? I don't think he'll be out for a while, but I don't know if it was a shoulder, but I heard something about 7 to 10 days he might be out.
So and you got to remember, there's less than 10 games left in the remaining of the season. So you're talking about a little over 2 weeks that are left. But once again, here we are. The playing games. You got the Warriors at 7, Timberwolves at 8, Kings at 9, Suns at 10, and the Mavs at 11. So
Then the playing games, 2 teams make it or just one?
9 and 10.
two
they play
games.
one.
So
the losers automatically out
7, 8, 9, and 10 play against each
Yeah,
other.
no, I know that, but I'm saying
because you got to win 2 games for
is it-
those
do
last
they
couple.
take 2 teams from there. or
Two
just-
out of the 4.
All right.
2 out of the 4. The low seeds have to win 2 games.
Yeah, 7,
in
8,
order.
9, and 10. But 9 and 10 have to win twice.
You have to win
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
That's your reward to get in. It hasn't been done yet.
All right, it didn't show
Um,
the issues.
uh,
Interesting. Hauser and Cornette will be on the Magic. Didn't they both get re-signed for like 3 years?
No.
Hauser got,
2 years.
Hauser got
How's
money
it got money?
in decent years.
I don't know about
Cornette 1 year. He read up for 1 year.
I know how.
They need a shooter. Cornette,
Hauser, I think,
consider
was
a shooter,
2
but
years.
Hauser's a
I
shooter.
thought Hauser was 2 years.
I don't think he's going in.
How's 2 or 3 years?
Um,
I know they signed him.
They signed everybody.
yeah. Cornette could have got more money had he gone in free agency, but he said, "I'm going to stay 1 year."
Yeah.
And low key, he is an underrated player for them. Underrated.
He gets
No
because-
pressure on him.
Because all he does is he plays his pick and roll. He knows how to
Catches
run the
alley-
offense.
catches alley-oops.
He sets those picks. He gets
And he
garbage.
extends the health of Al Horford because
Yes.
he can eat up some of those minutes that Al can no
Yes.
longer.
Yeah, he plays defense.
Yes, he does. But getting back over to the West, the West is just jumbled up. West is jumbled up from 2 all the basically from 2
Shit.
through 6, and then 7 through 11. It's just a jumble. It's a mess.
For the first time in a
Um,
while, both conferences have a lot of good teams.
Parity.
The West has been good for a little while. The East has been lagging, but every year this year it's Detroit. Last year it was Orlando.
Yeah.
But we've been adding one more team to make the East, but the West is crazy.
Hello,
Blair,
Blair.
what's going
Hello,
on?
Blair.
She's a sports fan.
Yes,
We can't talk about the Washington
a
team.
diehard Commander.
Yes, football. She got a lot to talk about.
So in moving forward, I think that in these next 2 weeks, I think just being healthy, just getting through the next 2 weeks without, because we did see the
And-
scare with
And we
Tatum.
can't- and we
Who
can't
needs to
see-
get healthy in the West?
And we can't see a lot of guys.
Because I think the top 4 are healthy. OKC,
Rockets,
Rockets,
Nuggets,
Lakers. Now that LeBron's back,
Yeah.
they don't have anybody they're missing.
No. Yeah, because Rudy Hachimura's back.
Yeah.
LeBron's back. So yeah. It makes for it's gonna make for an interesting final 2+ weeks.
Now, some of those teams at the end of that playing, Steph's been in and out of the lineup, but I think he'll be
He's
ready
out.
by the
He's
He's
play.
out.
out right now.
He's out.
Yeah.
They're gonna hold him out for
But
4
Jimmy,
games.
he didn't play in a return to Miami, and Jimmy
Yes.
Butler couldn't. He had a bad game in Miami.
Oh yeah.
Have we heard anything from Kuminga this year?
Jonathan Kuminga.
He
He's
was
been-
supposed to. He had a decent year last year. He never took that step
No,
this year.
he
They got rid of Wiggins. That should have opened up, but maybe he's playing behind Jimmy.
Yeah, yeah. He's definitely behind Jimmy.
Do they play the same spot?
2, 3.
well, he took away his possessions. I'll tell you that much. He's gonna see the ball less.
Yes, Blair, and I backed up your Maryland Terrapins, if that's what you're going to say. That's my sneaky pick to beat Florida.
I don't know if I heard him say that, but
No, I said if there's an upset tonight, I picked Florida, but I think Maryland.
So we need to before we sign off, we need to touch on the whole LeBron James, Stephen A. Smith,
Hey,
So clue is in because I missed
All right.
both sides.
All right.
On
So
part 2 anyway.
So this is what happened. LeBron James went on the Pat McAfee show and gave an exclusive interview. And let's just stop right there.
you don't do that.
Wait, no. Let's just stop from the beginning. So there was some turmoil in the beginning with Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee. So that was a slap in the face right there. Like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna give this dude an exclusive. Gave him an exclusive. LeBron, when's the
He
last
almost
time?
left ESPN.
What? Yes, I know. When is the last time LeBron James gave a sit-down exclusive to someone?
He didn't have an agenda.
When he
When he walked away.
yeah, when he
The
started going to
decision.
Miami.
The decision
I'm taking my talent.
does
to
not
Miami.
give exclusives. he felt that strongly about coming on, and it was also yeah, take that, I'm going to come out because I know you have a platform that you can speak about. So in that interview, some of the things that he highlighted and wanted to get off his chest, first and foremost, was he wanted to make it clear that, listen, I'm not against anybody, any of the analysts going out and doing their job, which is, I think, is BS.
No, of course.
Because number one, they are doing their job, albeit that they're talking about your son. You don't like it. You don't like it because you can't control that narrative. All right, that's number one. He stated that Stephen A. Smith was the comments that he made were personal. He said, it's personal. I have to protect. This is what he said verbatim. I have to protect my players. And furthermore, I have to protect my household, meaning you're going after my son.
Yep.
He's the only one in that situation in the league.
Exactly.
You got to protect your household.
Exactly.
You happen to be lucky enough to have a member of your household playing, but if he's not on par with the other talented people in the league, you can't force us to believe your agenda.
Yeah. Listen, so number one, you get no special treatment because that is your son. At the end of the day, he is an NBA player.
And he's open to be congratulated or scrutinized based on what he deserves.
He's not on an NIL deal now. He is in with the big boy league. Okay. So to me,
just out of curiosity, I don't mean to cut you off, but when AD was on this team and people were talking shit, calling him street clothes and this,
no, he didn't. No.
Did LeBron come back and
no
defend him?
Yes. No, he didn't. No, he didn't, because it's his son.
Yeah. And that's the nepotism that I think he's wrong about, because he won't do it for nobody else, but because it's his son, he feels he's right and he has a right to tell people they can't criticize his son. His son is not a quality NBA player.
So he also went and after that interview, he posted a video of Stephen A. Smith boxing, doing the and everybody clowned it because it was like, that was like 3 years ago. After he got rotator cuff surgery, so he was on a comeback trail. That was exercise for him to for his rotator cuff. So he, in interview, he said that he was on a Taylor Swift like tour.
Yep.
He said, "Man, I know he's gonna eat this up," and he must be in his tighty whities talking about, yeah, he's talking about me. So it was more throwing digs at Stephen A. Smith. But you got to remember, you do what you do one day, on the next day, there's going to be
somebody's got a bigger platform.
There's going to be a response. So Stephen A. Smith had all the heavy hitters on there. He had obviously it was Stephen A. Smith. It was
Molly.
Well, who?
Stephen A. Smith on his show.
Yeah, no, it was
Molly.
He had Kendrick Perkins. And he also
all
had
the basketball heavy hitters.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Kendrick Perkins, and he also had on the senior writer there. What's his name? The big heavy set white dude there.
Windhorst.
Yeah, Wendy. He also had Wendy on there. So now he broke it down into segments. He said, and listen, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the biggest Stephen A. Smith.
I'm not.
Because
I think he's right on this.
He rolls hard against my team. He clowns my team. So I don't like it. I don't like.
Well, that's a publicity stuff.
Yeah. But the points in which he brought out were spot on in how he explained them. Number one, he said he needs to stop lying because he is not in a situation where he can control. Meaning he can't control what Bronny does. It's another person. He can't control him. He can't go out and score 30 points for him.
No.
He can't go out and shut up someone for him.
He can't make him a better quality player than what he's showing us.
Yes. Right now. So he's saying, stop lying and saying that I said something personal when all I did was I did my job.
Point out the obvious.
I reported on him.
Yeah.
And for you to say that it was personal, no, it's not personal. To me,
the only one in the league with that position.
To me, it's my job. To you, it's your son. So, of course, you're going to take it personal. He was right there.
Who else are you going to have that type of dialogue with? There's nobody else in that situation that has a father-son team in the NBA. And LeBron started that right from the draft with bullying the whole NBA, bullying the Lakers, bullying the whole league, telling everybody not to draft him so that he would fall to him.
He brought that up too.
He manipulated that.
He said, weren't you the guy last year who said that my son is better than half of the guys in the NBA?
Is that a true statement? The jury, nope. Jury's out. Not out on that. We know that he's not.
So he's like, he cannot control the narrative for his son. In past, he could control the narrative. He could go out and shut up some of the naysayers if he had a couple of bad games. He cannot now do that for Bronny. Bronny is the only one that could do it. So in the interview, Kendrick Perkins also went and it needs to be known that Kendrick Perkins thinks that LeBron James is a GOAT.
Yeah, and he played with him, right?
Yes. He thinks that LeBron James is the GOAT. He takes him over Michael Jordan. Stephen A. Smith, on the other hand, said, don't be mad at me because I constantly come out and I don't put you as the GOAT.
That's my opinion, and I'm entitled.
Michael Jordan is that's what he said. Michael Jordan is my GOAT. And I gave the reasons why. Not everybody is going to cheer for you like Clutch Sports wants them to. I am not one of those guys. I give you my reasons, and you should take it as such and move forward with it. I am a paid reporter to report stories, and this is what I do. You don't have to like what I report, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm reporting something that is untrue. We've seen thus far what he has done. So it is not untrue. It is personal. You have to separate yourself from the personal and the person. And he's unable to do this.
In both sides' argument, was there at any time you felt LeBron justified his argument? Because I don't think he has an argument. I think he's just stubborn that it's his son, but that doesn't give you the right to make you give an advantage to him over the rest of the players in the. He's not better than half the team on the league. He doesn't deserve a roster spot. He wouldn't have got drafted if you didn't force him.
Better than half of the people on his team.
Yeah,
on his own team. Let alone
he's doing all right in the developmental league right now. He's had a couple of decent games, but
because he scored 39 points.
Yeah, he's not NBA quality.
Yeah, listen, I said this before. There was a dude who just dropped 50 points in the developmental. JD Davidson has dropped 40 at least 4 or 5 different times. So there's a guy who played for Long Island, a white dude. He dropped 50 points, had 9 rebounds, and he shot 81%. 81%. Listen, you're gonna have your good games, you're gonna have your bad games. The developmental league is just what it's called, developmental. Does it translate to the NBA? No, it doesn't, because you're playing against better quality opponents. Thus far, what he's done, it's a small sample size, but you got to realize at the end of the day, people are going to report on it.
And we're all watching the same games that you're watching. How could you be the only one that sees it different?
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think that he just got on that platform just to say, I'm going to stick it to you, Stephen A. Smith, because I'm going to go on to the show after you, and I'm going to say what I have to say. You know what I'm saying? And so be it.
And try to stem the flow and get us to kind of sway over to his side. But there's not one person that's going to reasonably listen to that and feel that LeBron James's point of view is right.
Only people that
out of LeBron James,
love
people who love LeBron James.
LeBron James love. You know what?
But show me what LeBron's son has done to deserve a roster spot or to be considered better than half. You're hurt because it's your son. Like you said, he never praised AD. He never came to anybody else's defense.
And you know what kills me?
They're
like, oh, we're talking about the 55th pick. How many 55th picks are making? How much money? Guaranteed contract.
$8 million, I think it is.
How many?
Like 2 years, $8 million.
So how many 55th picks have got a guaranteed contract, not a two-way contract, a guaranteed contract with the NBA, and are making $8 million?
And at the beginning, he had a clause saying he couldn't get sent down. They had a consent to allow him. Yeah. Like he would have rotted on the bench. And there's no way he should have played opening night. The only reason they did was to get that out of the way. Because we never know if LeBron could have a career ending. Let me get on the court with my son right away.
This is history. And I wonder what that conversation was like between him and JJ.
He forced that.
I would have loved to have been the fly on the wall. Like, hey, you're going to put him in at such and such a time. you know, and I would have just loved to have been the fly on the wall to see how it went.
Yeah.
And I would like to be able to see what the rest of the teams, because you see him every day in practice and he's not ready to play.
But my thing is, JJ Redick had no choice.
No,
JJ Redick was LeBron's choice to be the coach.
Oh,
yeah.
LeBron's the
A
playing
pawn.
general man. I've seen
A
player
pawn.
coaches. I've never seen playing general managers.
oh yeah, he was a pawn. Let's face it, he was on his podcast.
Yeah. It was so obvious that puzzle piece came together.
It's just, for me, it's just right now, LeBron is you're doing a disservice to your legacy right now. You're complaining too much. All right.
Complaining, the flop.
So
takes away from
Stephen
his
A.
greatness.
Smith gave great examples. He said, you remember when we got when Allen Iverson, when people got on Allen Iverson practice. We're talking about practice. We're talking, what does he do to follow that up? He goes to the NBA finals and he does, but he took it. It didn't linger for 3 months. It didn't linger for a whole season. And this is what he's saying. He's like, we've done it to a lot of superstars. He goes, we'll stay right in the camp. We called Magic Johnson Tragic Johnson at one point. When he choked in the conference finals against Houston. What did he do the following year? He came back and won. He won. Listen, you need to be able to take criticism as well as people praising you
in all aspects of life.
Yes, it's both parts.
That's how you grow, you improve.
That's right. You are not going to have everyone always, oh, he's the greatest, he's the GOAT, he's this, he's that. And then even further, they went and Stephen A. said, because on Pat McAfee, they talked about the relationship with him and Kobe. They weren't that close until he got traded to the Lakers, and Kobe was there every night watching him. Yeah. Even when they were on the same Olympic team, they weren't as close. That was just part of. That
was his biggest true game reality. That was his biggest comparison for his era.
Yeah,
because he played with Kobe. He didn't play with Mike.
Yeah, and so then they asked him. So then Pat McAfee asked him. Well, he's like, well, why don't you think that you and Mike are that? Because I'm playing. I'm still perfecting my craft and I'm playing. And Pat McAfee went on to ask him, well, do you think that once you are done playing that you guys will be like you and Kobe? And he was like, I just hope to be, friends with him, and that's it. And then Stephen A. Smith said, no, it'll never happen. Because one, Michael Jordan
respect the way he's gone about it. Probably.
Michael Jordan probably lost his trust or any type of friendship that he had when he made himself the self-proclaimed GOAT. He said all the players before him, Kobe never did it, Michael never did it, Dr. J never did it, Magic Johnson never did it, Larry Bird never did it, but this guy is doing it. He says, I know times change and players evolve, but this is it. And he said, no. He said, and even Kendrick Perkins said, he said, no, Mike. He says, Mike is just Mike. Mike is living his life. Mike ain't got no time for nobody.
Mike's comfortable with resting on his laurels.
Yes,
he's done what he had to do, and he's done. He lets everybody out. You don't hear him coming out saying,
he lets his game speak for itself. He lets his game speak for
itself.
itself.
If you ask him, he'll say, "That's up to you guys to decide." That's not me to tell you.
And that's why he said that he feels. And at the end of the conversation, LeBron James said, "Listen, I know we're in a different generation, different time, but the players nowadays, you need to stop being so sensitive."
Yeah.
He goes, I'm a Shaq and the Fool All-Star. He said it. He said, you know what? I was on that damn thing every week. Shaq and the Fool All-Star. Did I get upset at it? Do I want to go? Listen, it's the media. They're going to develop their own shows.
The only one that got upset about it was the light-skinned dude. His mother's a coach in that WNBA.
Ivy?
The tall dude.
Tall, yeah.
Not Peter McGee.
McGee. Yeah.
JaVale McGee.
Because he was an all-star too.
Yeah.
But he said, listen, at the end of the day, you just need to be able to take criticism as well as praise. It's a character builder. He goes, you can't have everyone always praising you. He goes, on the opposite end is going to be people that are criticizing you. and you have to learn to deal with it. Basically, and this came out of Perkins. He says your skin needs to be tougher. You know, all the stuff that the guys nowadays are, oh, well, why should I be the face of the NBA? So I can get criticism to go with it. Oh, wait, hold on. Didn't Michael Jordan get it? Didn't Larry Bird get it? Didn't Magic Johnson get it? Everybody got it. You think you're susceptible not to get it?
And when Michael Jordan made his ascent to the top of the NBA basketball game, it was the old school vets who he respected that anointed him.
Yeah.
When they had the dream team, do you remember the conversation between Bird and Magic when he was killing them? They said, that's God disguised as Michael Jordan on the court because there's nothing we can do. He passed the torch. He took the torch.
Yeah.
But it was the other great players that anointed him, not self-proclaimed.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I just think that it's a bad look for LeBron. I think he just needs to let it go.
Agreed.
He needs to let his son take his lumps. He's a man. He's getting paid like a man.
Oh, yeah.
And he's in the man's league. That's the bottom line. What you do in the NBA is all that matters. What you do in the developmental league, yeah, it might matter to bring you to the big league, but we're not looking at what you do in the G League. We had the guy, what was his name? The dunk
Yeah.
the guy that wins it. He was once the MVP. He once scored 40, 50 points in a game. Where is he currently?
Just like the guy that was the
Not in the
shooter
NBA.
for BYU. He's over there averaging 40 a game, but can't play defense and can't get a shot off in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think LeBron needs to let it die because, you know, at the end of the day, you're going up against the top-rated journalist, the top-rated sports show.
And he knows his stuff. And he knows how to deliver it.
Yeah.
He's going to fact check. He's going to research. Stephen A. Smith is definitely in the right. And I'm not a Stephen A. Smith fan. I think he's a loudmouth. I think he's mistreated a few people on that show by his power. Blair mentioned how he treated Monica McNutt. But he's handpicked who's on that show and who's not on that show. But when it comes to this, there's no debate in it. Like,
Yeah. I just move on. Just let it go.
mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to come to an end. We need to go watch some games, man.
Hey, by the way, 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Florida's up by 3. I've been watching it. They just took the lead against Maryland, 33-30 with 3:34 to go in the first half.
Oh, we need to watch the second. He's watching it over here.
Alabama
Cheaters
by 11.
Cheaters. All right. So yeah, we need to sign off. But we just finalized something in the way of a comedy show.
Oh,
want to let them know?
Yeah, the next lineup 2 weeks from Saturday. We've had Jay the comedian before. If you've seen him before, you know what to expect. Very unique, very well liked. Come out, do yourselves a favor. Come support the show. WNB1 presents the WNB1 comedy series. Jay the comedian is the headliner. We're bringing Steph Jones up from New York City to be our feature. Very funny female comedian. Very, very funny. And you already know what to expect with our host, Chris Tabb. So the flyers out there now. Tickets are available. Do your thing. Hit us up. Go online. Get those tickets. We're definitely going to deliver. 2 weeks from Saturday, guys.
Yep. All right. With that being said, we're off to go watch some March Madness, and we'll see you next week.
Tie ball game.
Right here. These guys are cheating, watching on their phone. I'm over
Have
here.
to, man.
I'm over here looking at my notes, and they're looking at their.
Oh, we were looking at your notes too.
All right, hey, we're out of here, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace. We're out.
I would like to introduce.
Okay, let's go.
New Bedford's new online radio station. WNB1 Radio Broadcasting Live 24/7. All music genres. WNB1 Radio. Your urban music link.